Welcome, race fans, to the Talladega Super Speedway. Tonight we've got on hand the Loose Lugnuts Racing Series Christmas Special, and Brennan and Zach, this is going to be a fun 100 laps here at Talladega Super Speedway. A bunch of guys we haven't really seen before in racing, but there is a little bit of familiarity. We've got Bradley Wilson in the field, but guys, thanks for joining me up here tonight, especially with it being so close to Christmas. And I'm looking forward to tonight.
Heck yeah, man. I'm looking forward to it. Looking forward to some really good racing. Thank you for having us up here in the booth. And yeah, I'm looking forward to some side-by-side, bumper-to-bumper bumper-to-bumper action.
All right, well, looks like our graphics are being a bit wonky, so we're going to go to a commercial break. We'll be right back. We're currently just in practice, so you're not going to miss a whole lot. But we'll be right back in just a few minutes with action here from Talladega.
On January 1st of this year, we made a major announcement when we added Porsche as our newest partner. The first car we added to the sim was the Porsche 911 GT3 Cup, and at the same time we announced that we would be adding several more Porsches in the future. For the next Porsche, we wanted something special, something unique, something that hasn't been seen in a racing sim before, and something definitively Porsche. Today, that Porsche is here. So here we are in northern New Hampshire, where we found the perfect diesel Porsche. It's a model P133, and we're super excited to be able to scan it today. That should take us about 8 hours or so. After that, we'll do photo reference and sound recording. Then we're back to the office to build this sucker. When we're done with this project, we'll have the most authentic tractor ever built. Take that, farming simulator. It'll take some time and a lot of company resources, but we can definitely say this Porsche will be ready to launch sometime in the future.
Welcome back, race fans, to the Talladega Super Speedway. As I mentioned about 5 minutes ago, we've got one heck of a race on hand here tonight with the Loose Lugnuts Racing League. It's a special event. I believe no points are coming out of this race. It's just the trucks at Talladega for what'll be an exciting 100 laps. They do have 2 fast repairs to use in case they get caught up in the inevitable big one. So I think it'll just be action-packed all night here, Brennan. What about you?
Yeah, definitely agree. Obviously, draft racing here at the big super speedways, so see some big packs. It'll be a lot of side-by-side action all night.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun tonight. I'm really looking forward to this race, and I do want to mention real quick, courtesy of, I believe it's RFK Motorsports. I could be wrong on that. I hope I'm right. Anyways, the team is by Ronald Klein. It's a new team to iRacing, and it's by Ronald Klein, I believe. He was telling me about it earlier when we were talking about this broadcast here tonight, and they'll be giving away free T-shirts from their team and a free hat. Now, the way you can win this is by participating in the chat in the race tonight, and I'll actually share this to more groups so people can get in on this. So give me one moment to share this around. Alrighty, we should be getting more people in here momentarily. If we just give it a moment. So anyways, back to what I was saying. There's going to be some ways for you spectators out there, you fans watching this stream, to win something, be it a t-shirt or a hat from, I believe it's RFK or RTK Motorsports, which is run by Ronald Klein, who is one of the admins over here at Loose Lugnuts. And basically, if you, in the chat, mention, or comment, rather, the 3 drivers that you think will make up the top 3 by lap 50, the 3 drivers that you think will finish the race in the top 3, if you make that comment by lap 50, you'll be entered to have a chance to win. And if you pick the correct winner, you'll also get a hat. Now, if you do end up winning this, all you have to do is contact us via Facebook, which is where you're watching this right now, if you're watching live. And you have, like I said, that chance to win some free stuff. We'll get you sorted out with the right guys to message, or have them message you. We'll figure it out, but basically you can win a free t-shirt and a free hat if you pick the correct top 3 at the end of the race and the correct winner. And again, those picks have to be made by lap 50, which is halfway in tonight's event. Now, another bit of information that y'all might want to know before tonight's race is PSI TV thankfully hit 1,000 likes yesterday afternoon. Now, what that means for you guys watching is all you have to do is like the page and then share the post that we'll be making, I believe, tomorrow, Christmas Eve, in case you're watching this a little while after. You can go to our Facebook page. We'll be making a post about it. Basically, we're going to be raffling off some wallpapers heading into the 2018 NASCAR season. This raffle is going to go for a couple of weeks and will be drawn at the K-Vegas Snowball Derby. And you'll be able to win some wallpapers, digital wallpapers, be it for your phone, your tablet, your computer, anything. Obviously, you have to have something to be able to watch these streams on, and you can win wallpapers for your favorite driver from us and TN Designs sponsoring that deal, as well as a couple of David Levine hero cards from David Levine Racing. I want to thank him for throwing that in just to spice it up. And we may be able to get something from RTK or RFK. I can't remember which one it is. It's one of the two, but it's a brand new iRacing team. So there's going to be all kinds of cool stuff that you can win. Just keep an eye out on the Facebook page for more info on that. Now that that spiel is over, guys, we're getting into the race here tonight. Again, 100 laps on hand at Talladega Superspeedway. Anything can happen. And so to help explain what we might see here tonight, I'm going to bring up one of the league admins, and that's going to be Jay Hughes. Jay Hughes, this is Andrew Cardinale in the PSI TV booth. Do you have a copy?
I got you, buddy.
Well, first off, I want to thank you and the Loose Lugnuts Racing League for having us up here tonight, calling this race. Real quick, if you could give us a bit of a rundown on what we can expect to see here tonight, that would help us and the fans a ton.
Yeah, man. Hopefully you're going to see all of us having a little Christmas spirit and give and take out here, but the way practice is going, I highly doubt it, man. Looks like everyone's come to bring it, and put on a show for you guys up in the booth tonight.
For sure. Well, I know Wesley Holland was the most recent champion, I believe. Who else can we expect to see up in the front? And as I'll actually bring up the results tab right now.
Well, of course you're going to see West up front, but to be honest, when it comes to this sort of track, I don't even know. It's going to be a crapshoot. But I know old Ronald, he'll find a way to make sure that car or truck's up front tonight, and I'm going to try to do the same. I'm going to try to put my truck up front all night.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Jay, for that bit of insight on the league and who we can expect to see. Because this is our first time here at PSI TV covering one of these races. Again, want to thank everyone at Loose Lugnuts Racing League for making this happen this weekend. Definitely appreciate the opportunity. And with that, I think I'll move you back down, let you get ready for the race tonight. And best of luck to you, bud.
Yeah, good luck to you guys in the broadcast, man. We appreciate it. We're a group of guys that don't play no BS and just like to have fun, so I hope you guys enjoy and come back for some more.
Sounds great. Well, again, best of luck in your race tonight. Merry Christmas, and man, I'm hoping for a good one.
Thanks, brother. Merry Christmas, you too.
Again, that was Jay Hughes with the Loose Lugnuts Racing League. I want to thank him and everyone from Loose Lugnuts for, again, making this a possibility. Now, as we turn to some practice speeds and really get going as far as focusing on the event here tonight, just want to mention Brandon Dorsett, currently your fastest driver out here. Now, obviously, these times are all going to be set in the draft, and they're not going to play really any effect into who's actually fastest when it comes to qualifying. But Brandon Dorsett currently on the top of the speed charts in that number 11 truck. Brian Bizzle, not sure how to say that one exactly, currently in the second spot with Bradley Wilson in third, Alan Madding in fourth, Dustin Covington in fifth, Gary Whitmer Jr. in sixth. Matthew was, I don't know. Quite frankly, I apologize. Lesniewski might be how you say it. He is currently in the seventh spot with Trevor Patelli in the eighth spot, Bob Eldred in the ninth spot, and Jason Covington in 10th.
And as we continue down the list, we got Tent Drum in 11th, Ronald Klein in 12th, Dustin Lee 13th, Ralph Wheeler 14th, Tim Campbell in 15th, Jason Hughes 16th, William Wise 17th, Wesley Holland in, what did I say last, 17th? 18th, I believe this is?
Correct.
Yeah.
Okay. Bob Wells in 19th, and rounding out our top 20 is Brian Tribble in 20th.
21st, we have Craig Covington. 22nd, Roy Atkinson, 23rd to Travis Zudema. 24th to John Hendrick. 25th to David Johnson. 26th to Rodney Morris. And our last guy, 27th to put down a time, is Anthony Poston.
It should be one heck of a night out here, guys. Once more, I want to thank you guys for volunteering your time out here with PSI TV. Being so close to Christmas, tomorrow is Christmas Eve if you're watching this a few days after when this goes up on YouTube. So, for Brendan and Zach to help me out tonight is really cool. Definitely want to thank you guys once more for doing this so close to the holidays. And to everyone watching live and on YouTube later on, happy holidays, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, whatever you may celebrate. Hopefully it was good, or it is good if you're celebrating it in the future. So, without further ado, we've only got a minute and a half left in practice. And then we'll be going to solo qualifying where we can't really watch it. So we're going to take just one more commercial break, and we'll be right back with some more great action.
On January 1st of this year, we made a major announcement when we added Porsche as our newest partner. The first car we added to the sim was the Porsche 911 GT3 Cup, and at the same time we announced that we would be adding several more Porsches in the future. For the next Porsche, we wanted something special, something unique, something that hasn't been seen in a racing sim before, and something definitively Porsche. Today, that Porsche is here. So here we are in northern New Hampshire where we found the perfect diesel Porsche. It's a model P133 and we're super excited to be able to scan it today. That should take us about 8 hours or so. After that, we'll do photo reference and sound recording. Then we're back to the office to build this sucker. When we're done with this project, we'll have the most authentic tractor ever built. Take that, farming simulator. It'll take some time and a lot of company resources, but we can definitely say this Porsche will be ready to launch sometime in the future.
Welcome back to PSI TV. We're currently in the middle of qualifying here for the Loose Lugnuts Racing League Christmas special from Talladega Super Speedway in the NASCAR trucks. And currently, Trevor Patelli on pole in the number 7 truck with a 54.29, and Tim Campbell currently on outside pole in the number 89 with Dustin Covington in 3rd, Roy Atchison in 4th, Ronald Klein currently in 5th, Ralph Wheeler currently in the 6th spot with Jason Hughes in 7th, Dustin Lee in 8th, Bob Eldred in 9th, and David Johnson currently holds your 10th place spot. Actually, he just got moved down to 11th as Bob Wells takes the pole, and now Wesley Holland to pole. So, as we get into tonight's event, Zach, are you there?
Yes, sir.
Well, Zach, I know you caught up with a couple of drivers earlier about a bit of an interesting family affair here. So if you could kind of give us some insight on that, that'd be appreciated.
Right, so we actually got a brother, a father, and if I'm mistaken, an adopted son out there, a part of the same family. Dustin Covington is a brother to the Dustin Covington, the 48, is a brother to the, let me find the number. I apologize. Dustin Covington is the brother to... I'm sorry, I can't find the number. Jason Covington in the 18, which they are sons to the 96 driver of, I'm sorry, I can't find his name now. To the 96 of Craig Covington. I apologize, but yeah, the 48 and the 18 are brothers. The 96 is their father. And I believe they said there was an adopted son out there, but I was unable to catch the name, so I do apologize about that. But those are our 3 family members in the field today. 4 family members in the field today. All
right, sounds good. Well, Zach, thank you for that bit of an insight on the Covington family affairs. It's kind of wild to think that you've got at least 3, if not 4, from one family in this race, but you know, it just sometimes spices things up. You know, I mean, you go back to the Earnhardts in the mid-'90s. I mean, well, really the late 90s, you had Kerry and Dale Jr. and Dale Sr. all racing against each other in that kind of situation on short tracks and such. So, you know, it's a very cool thing to have. And as we roll into the race, one moment, I'll pull up our grid. On row 1, we're going to have Ralph Wheeler out of Florida in the number 14 truck with Dustin Lee to his outside out of Carolina. In row number 2, that's the wrong thing. Hang on. In row number 2, we're going to have Jason Hughes on the inside in the 58 with Gary Whitmer Jr. on the outside. Trevor Patelli will make up the inside of row number 3 in the number 7 with Dustin Covington to his outside. On the inside of row number 4 will be Trent Drum with Bob Eldred to his outside in the number 10 truck. On the inside of row number 5 will be David Johnson, and on the outside will be Dryan Tribble.
And continuing out of the top 10, we got Ronald Klein in the 11th position, Wesley Holland in the 12th position, Anthony Poston in the 13th position, Bob Wells in the 14th position, William Wise in the 15th position, Roy Atkinson in the 16th position, Tim Campbell 17th, and Bradley Wilson 18th. He is the last driver to take a time. 19th will be Jason Covington, and starting 20th will be Jason Dorsett in 20th. Brandon Dorsett, I apologize.
And it looks like after that, the starting grid is a bit jumbled up, so I'll take that trouble away from Brendan. It's mostly just guys that didn't take a qualifying time that'll be starting in the back, but up towards the front, Jason Hughes. Yeah, is it Jason Hughes? No, it's going to be Ralph Wheeler. Sorry, I am all mixed up right now. My ticker is just all off. So that's number 14.
Yeah, the 14's in front with the 29 who was outside.
Uno momento. I'm very mixed up now because it's being odd. Alright, we fixed it. We're good. So, I mean, 100 laps here at Talladega. Anything can happen. You can't win it on lap 1, that's for sure, but you certainly can lose it. And as these guys roll off of the starting grid, a lot of these paint schemes that you'll see out here tonight that may look Christmas-themed, red and white, and mix of green in there, most of those, if not all of them, were painted by Over the Top Designs, one of the sponsors of tonight's race and the Loose Lugnuts Racing Series. So you can head over to Over the Top Designs on Facebook for your paint scheme needs for iRacing, and they'll get that worked out for you.
And 100 laps at this track is a lot of laps, so these guys are going to have mental toughness, physical toughness, mental awareness to always be on their toes, to have drivers around them. I mean, these guys are going to be bumper to bumper to bumper about 15, I wouldn't say 15, I'd say about 13 rows back. So, I mean, these guys got to stay on their toes every lap, which is 100 of them. I'm expecting a wild race. I don't know about you guys, but this is going to be crazy.
Yeah, definitely. And it's going to sound weird to say, but these races, they really do wear you out. I mean, obviously, you're playing a simulation here, but with the wheels and stuff like that, the force feedback in it, it'll wear you out doing 100 laps of this for sure.
Oh, yeah, that's definitely the truth. I mean, normally, even in the NMNTS and the real truck series in NASCAR, you only run 94 laps here in these trucks. And, it's just to add those 6 laps. It doesn't sound like much, but that's 6 by 2.5 roughly. You're adding something like 15 miles, I want to say, and just in those 6 laps, you add a lot of stress to these drivers. It doesn't sound like a whole lot, but it really does add up to a lot. It really changes the whole dynamic. You have to race that much further. So as these guys come down to the green, take your picks now. Again, you can win some free merchandise, such as a t-shirt and a hat if you pick the correct top 3 or the correct winner. We'll be talking more about that in just a moment. But coming down to the green flag, it's going to be Ralph Wheeler with control of the start. Now, I'll have to give it a couple of restarts to see exactly what their start rules are. We've never broadcast for Loose Lugnuts before, and we'll just be having to get used to them throughout the night, but that's no problem. Ralph Wheeler bringing us to the green flag. And green flag is out. These guys will get off and away. The number 29 with a really good start, actually. He's going to hold right with the 14 of Ralph Wheeler currently as they head off into turn 1. Brendan, any early picks on who you think will win this race?
I think I got a root out for the guy we know here, Bradley Wilson. He put up a pretty quick time in the practice. Obviously, that was in the draft. Starting towards the back of the field, but I think he's got a shot to be up front at the end of the night.
Thanks for taking my pick, Brandon. I'm gonna have to go with the man who's leading it right now. I mean, he must know a little something about this track, Ralph Wheeler. He must know a little something to get that truck out there in front in no draft. So I'm gonna have to pick him for tonight.
Now, as we watch the wide shot, these guys file into a 2x2 pack here up in the front. Already a lot of mixing around throughout the lines, but we still see this 2x2 structure. We'll see this for most of the night. I really think this top line is going to move, but I think I'm going to go with that number 58. He's already looking to try and get by the 14. I think he's hungry for a win here tonight in that bad Santa Chevrolet.
Yeah, definitely. It's going to take a couple laps. Everybody gets settled in what they're going to do here, but once we see that,
it looks like the 58's going to drop off the apron, go towards the back. He doesn't want to be mixing it up front. He's going to drop towards the back real quick.
And this brings me to kind of our first plate track lesson of the night. If you haven't watched a race with us before, I like to really talk about the aerodynamics and how the lines work here, especially in these trucks. Basically, because the 58 just bailed on the bottom line, it's a common thing to happen, but that hurt the 14. That's why you saw him completely lose the lead. That was Ralph Wheeler losing the lead to Dustin Lee in the 29. Now, I think had Dustin Lee stayed in the top side, he would have had better chances just because the top line actually really moves here at Talladega, especially. But actually, now Dustin Lee is blinking. He might be pulling down to the inside, and he is. But it was very surprising to me to see him immediately pull down to the bottom, because that top line can really move as these guys go 3 wide out of turn 2. So we'll have to watch for the momentum shifts out here tonight. It's going to be really interesting to watch and see exactly what these guys do throughout the race. You always have to watch for what line is moving, as currently the 48 is going to pull into the lead, it looks like, having a drag race currently with Ralph Wheeler in the number 14.
And it just also comes down to which line is able to get formed up the best. I mean, these guys splitting it 3 wide back here, nothing wrong about that, nothing wrong about splitting 3 wide, but it is hurting that top line to a point where they're not formed up, they're mixing it up, and they're slowing each other down to where the bottom line is all one straight line and they can get going. As the 4 makes a charge 3 wide per second right now, but like I was saying, it could really break up the top line, slow down the top line, and give the bottom line a real good advantage in either the turn or the straightaway. So they're really going to have to level everything out, try to start working with each other, and put themselves in good positions to make passes, and not really mix anything up too much to slow themselves down.
Yeah, Zach, I think you're totally on point there. These guys really have to be careful what they do all race long. If you make one mistake, you can kill your entire line and suddenly go from being in the front with a chance to win to possibly 20th place, depending on how packed up these guys are throughout the night. So as we move on, though, 4 laps in the books. Ralph Wheeler still out front. Dustin Covington trying to race him from the outside. And you see these guys are leaving a lot of room between each other right now in the middle of those 2 lines. That's going to change when we get down to about lap 100, because you got a side draft, and these trucks are perfect for side drafting, but right now these guys are definitely being very patient, giving a lot of room right now, not really using the side draft just yet. They want to probably save what they've got for the end of the race, and definitely don't want to tear up trucks just yet.
Yeah, definitely. You want to be competitive there at the end and have a clean straight truck, because as you mentioned earlier, the aero is huge on the super speedways like this. You get banged up at all, it'll really hurt the truck.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It'll really hurt you in aerodynamics to the point where it's slowing down your truck. Just maybe like 2 miles per hour. It'll slow you down that much, and it could completely take you out of the draft. It could completely take you out of the race contention. So these guys got to be really careful with what they do with the trucks, where they place the trucks, and how aggressive they want to be at this point of the race.
Now, as we go to Ralph Wheeler's on board right now, you'll see kind of an idea of what these guys are working with. You can't really see a whole lot, and actually if we go to the visor cam, it'll show even better. Let me find that real quick. You don't see a whole lot in these trucks. You have to really play around with where you are going into the corners, or you don't see that bottom yellow line, and you may not know exactly when to turn, and that can cause wrecks. It often does on iRacing in these plate races, and we see just the troubles that Ralph Wheeler right now is having to deal with in the turbulence of the draft and going over the bumps through the tri-oval especially. But now coming into turn 1, you can't see that yellow line really, and so he actually washes up on entry there. It's difficult, and you don't see much. You don't see much because you've got a big old truck in front of you. So there's not a lot of visibility out of the windshields of these trucks. You really just have to pray. You have to hope you're doing the right thing and pray.
We got ourselves a little bit of jockeying up front here. Almost a 3 wide for the lead. Bottom line checks up to let the 10 back in. But these guys were really mixing it up going down the back stretch. It looked like the 10 didn't know which lane, if he wanted to go back up top or slide down to the bottom. He couldn't make up his mind. And the guys behind him almost made up the mind for him, but they backed up, let him back in the line. Now the bottom line, there's only 3 of them up front, while the top line, they're kind of spread apart as well, but they're more closed in more than the bottom line.
Yeah, right now it looks like the bottom line is where people want to go, and I think that's going to change throughout the race. If they start to experiment with the top side, I think they'll find the top side is probably the best lane to be in. And actually, we start to see that top line form up. We see Bradley Wilson in that yellow pedigree truck has also visited the top line, and these guys are going to have to squeeze up top actually for a slow truck. Bob Wells down on the bottom was slow and right in front of these guys. He's still slow on the apron, getting out of the way though. So great sportsmanship there from him. It did cause a bit of a moment, kind of spread the field out. And Brennan, you called it out just a little while ago. Bradley Wilson going to be a guy for you to watch at the very least, and we see him moving up already.
Yeah, definitely. Looks like they're going to come up some more left traffic here. He's actually up on the high side. Let's see how they navigate through this here.
And these guys are getting really squirrely up here. The 48 forcing his way up there. The 14 giving the 10 a shot. Almost turned the car sideways. I mean, these guys are really pushing and shoving each other out here. And I mean, it's amazing to see that with only 9 laps in the book at Talladega. These guys still got 90 laps to go. So, I mean, these guys are already pushing it to the limit out here, seeing what each other can do, how much each other can handle, any more aggressiveness, and we might see a wreck up here in front.
And that may sound a bit idiotic on paper, but when you think about it, it's not that bad of an idea, simply because you want to find each other's limits. We know these guys have a total of 3 trucks, basically, to work with. You have 2 fast players, obviously you don't want to have to use them, but when you think about it, it's worth it now to figure out what you can do for later on, because if you figure that out now, you can plan the rest of the race around that. You can form a strategy for the rest of the race and form a strategy to try and win. So it's not that bad of an idea to work early, see what you can do, and I think that's what we're seeing Bradley Wilson do as he pops up 3 wide out of turn 2 here on lap 10.
Yeah, Brandon, it looks like he ducks it back down, makes it go 2 wide again, but yeah, you were absolutely right, Andrew. He's experimenting a little bit, seeing what these guys can handle, what they can't handle. Maybe keep that in the back of his mind to put himself in that kind of position for the end of the race so he could try to get himself into a winning position. But, I mean, at the same time, we still got 90 laps to go. You still got a lot of experimenting to do. You still got a lot of racing around to do. Brendan, would it be wise to be racing this aggressive this early? Or, I mean, what's your take on it? I'm kind of curious here.
I don't know. You always think you'd want to get yourself in the best position possible through the race here. Possibility of this staying green flag, I don't know how big the packs are, but should it stay green flag, excuse me, the further you are ahead, the better chance you have towards the end of the night, I'd say, with coming out up front, because the field will get spread out when we do go for green flag pit stops if we do, or even if we are under yellow, you'll be towards the front of the pack, you have a better chance of coming out towards the front, and you really can dictate how the race is going to go for yourself there, compared to being in the back, where you have to just follow along.
Yeah, that's totally right, Brennan, and a bit of a tangent here, but I just want to mention, as we're watching him now, Wesley Holland was your season champion pretty much in 2017, winning the Truck and Xfinity Series, from my understanding, in the Loose Lugnuts Racing League, and I want to congratulate him, give him a shout-out right here. Wesley Holland, your reigning champion in the Loose Lugnuts Racing Series in the number 4 Freaky Fast Truck tonight. Now, Zach, what were you seeing just a moment ago?
I'm sorry. I mean, these guys are making me nervous. I race on the sim as well. I've raced on super speedways, and I kind of like to be in a position where everything's just kind of calm and steady, not really pushing anything at the front of the race. These guys are making me nervous, and I'm up here in the booth. I've got shaky hands, sweaty palms, and I'm not even down there. I mean, these guys are putting everything out there on the line. I've seen cars get really loose, really wiggling out of each corner because they're just getting bumped so hard. I mean, these guys are putting everything out there. This is fun to watch.
And we're seeing that bottom line now pull away, and that's why you see Dustin Covington immediately go to the top side in the number 48, because he's not going to be able to form a run with the top line behind him. The top line had fallen all the way back to allow the top 3 in the bottom line to be totally clear, and that's why you saw the 48 go up high. Now he's going to form a run on the top side. But as we watch from Bradley Wilson's on board right now, you know, you're totally right, Zach. These guys are really pushing right now and really seeing what they can do. And, you know, if I was racing, I wouldn't like that, but, you know, from my point of view here in the booth, that's a great thing to see, because these guys are really testing out what they can do and learning for later on and providing us with a great show.
You know, to maybe the untrained eye or someone who isn't, you know, that fluent in racing, like you were saying, the bottom line took off. The bottom line got about 3 rows clear of the top line, and the 48 jumped to the high side. Now, to someone who doesn't regularly watch super speedway racing or racing, that'd be a dumb move. But the 48, because he made that move, he sucked the bottom line backwards and put himself into a position where he takes the lead, and which he is in the lead right now. So, I mean, that move in the long run really paid off for him as the bottom line starts to gain traction again on the low side here. But the 48 intentionally stopped the whole bottom line and took the high line and put the high line in a faster position and him in a better position to take the lead.
Yeah, and in my opinion, that's how you know that you've got a good plate racer right there in that number 48. We see Bradley Wilson now, I think, bailing on this top line. He almost got turned around through turns 3 and 4 that last lap. These guys are really on each other right now, but that's how you know you have a good plate racer. You know, he's able to recognize that the top line is falling back, but he can pop out and do what might seem to be the illogical thing, use the side draft a little bit to slow that bottom line down. A moment there with the 05 or 005, that was very close. We see Wesley Holland back off him, and that's going to be the challenge with these guys is, you know, it's hard to tell exactly when you're on somebody if he's on somebody. And if you're pushing someone and he's pushing someone at the same time, you're getting now both ends of the truck pretty much up in the air, completely out of control, and that's why we saw the 005 get loose on the bottom. We see now the 14 go almost all the way up to the wall.
Yeah, and when you're drafting that close, you're losing the nose arrow on the vehicle, so as soon as you get out of that draft at all, it kind of picks back up and you kind of can lose a little bit of control of the steering, like you said there. That and the front end being lifted up, it doesn't help either.
Now as we watch on board with the 005, after that big moment a lap ago, real quick I want to ask Jonathan Payne, who asked us a question in the comments, can you just clarify on that? Because I think if I know what you're asking if the setup is fixed maybe? I'm really not certain, but just if you could clarify that question, we'll get it answered for you as soon as we can.
Now I got to give these guys credit. The lap ago, these guys were 3 wide for second. The guy in front of them was the 16, I believe. The 16. Oh, we got like the 4 in the wall.
And that's Wesley Holland, your champion. Those were 2 really, really big hits.
He was in the fence at one point.
Wesley Holland going to be able to barely limp away from this one, though. We'll check in on the 12 truck.
Bradley Wilson's going to collect some damage out of that as well.
All right, so to the 4, Wesley Holland. He's the one that ends up going up in the air. We'll go all the way back and check this one out.
And it looks like the 14 hooked the 12, trying to miss the 4 and the 13's little spin there. The 14, my pick of Ralph Wheeler, just went down to miss it and just collects the 12, not intentionally. He's just trying to miss the wreck himself. But it just looks like he collected the 12. Actually, the 12 looks like he went flying over the top of Bradley Wilson. Maybe have barely gotten into him, but that's what happened with the 12 is what I'm seeing.
Yeah, and that was a heck of a ride there for Wesley Holland. We just watched that one in real time. And we're going to watch this one more time in slow motion. And just, I mean, watch this number 4 truck. This is one heck of a ride for him. I'm sorry, the replay actually isn't wanting to work, but we see him go up in the fence, go flipping. The replay was kind of being picky there, so we'll get that out of the way for you. But You mentioned the number 12 got involved in that afterwards. It was the 13 that hooked the number 4 in the first place. That's what ends up causing this wreck, but we'll go back and watch this on the number 12 this time, as he was missing the wreck. And as you mentioned, Zach, the number 14, Ralph Wheeler, was going to try and dodge that one as well. He just ends up, as you mentioned, getting right into the 12 truck and hooking him up into the air. I don't think that's what gave the 51 any damage. I think it was something separate while that was going on. I think he bumped into somebody to his inside. I think that may have been the damage you guys were seeing. I could be wrong, though.
Yeah, it was all on the left side. I think he may have made contact with, I believe it was the 89 when I went back and watched it, just trying to avoid it.
Yeah, and I think that was the only contact for him, but looks like Ronald Klein may be your leader when it's all said and done for this caution. The number 76 truck currently being shown in the first position and as the first truck behind the pace car. Now, to Jonathan Payne, do you have to adjust to every track accordingly, or is it a basic setup? So, in this race, I believe it's fixed setup, which means, you know, there's a setup that iRacing provides to everyone on the sim for pretty much every track. Obviously, if you were to take these to some F1 track, there wouldn't be a setup for that, but at least for the tracks that the NASCAR trucks race at, as well as some other cars at appropriate tracks, basically there's a setup provided by iRacing that can be utilized by drivers and leagues, and that's exactly what these guys are doing here, using the base Talladega setup provided to them by iRacing. Now, I want to mention once more, you can win some free merchandise here tonight in this race just by commenting out in the chat. Pick the 3 drivers that you think will finish in the top 3 by lap 50, and you'll be entered to win, if you're correct, you'll be entered to win some free merchandise from a new racing team, I believe possibly in real life and on iRacing. I'll get the name confirmation for you on that right now, actually, if I can. But you can also win a hat. So you can win a t-shirt for getting the top 3 right. You can win a hat for getting the winner right when it's all said and done. But again, your picks need to be in by lap 50 of this race, which will be the halfway point.
You guys got 30 laps to do it. Well, as we look on board here, it looks like the 76 stayed out to lead a lap. He's now coming in the pits this time. He's going to give way to the 88, who I believe is a lap down. He's going to get a wave around, but it looks like the 76 is coming in. I don't know who this is going to put in as their new leader now.
So just got confirmation on the name of the team. It is a real-life race team, as well as on iRacing. So Ronald Klein is a part of that in the number 76. And it is RTK Motorsports. They are a real race team. They got, I believe he was saying he got a dirt car of some sort. I don't remember exactly what kind, just recently. And so they're going to be providing some merchandise in a drawing here tonight. Again, you can win a t-shirt just by picking the top 3 that you think will finish in the top 3, as well as the driver that you think will win. And so you'll get the t-shirt if you get the top 3 correctly, the hat if you get the winner correct. And in addition to that drawing, if you pay attention to the PSI TV Facebook page, which you're watching this on if you're watching it live, there will be some more info on a raffle that'll be concluded at the K-Vegas Snowball Derby on January 6th. And you can win some wallpapers of your favorite NASCAR driver, or if you're international or even just not into NASCAR, it can be your favorite dirt driver, favorite F1 driver, V8 supercar, whatever you're into. Just let us know. We'll get it sorted out. You can also win some hero cards from a former NASCAR driver, just to sweeten it up a little bit. It might sound kind of random, sorry, but you know, it's always cool to get free stuff, and I believe RTK Motorsports may be providing a little bit of merchandise to that drawing as well.
Well,
now if you're
like
new,
some pretty cool prizes.
Yeah, definitely. It's definitely always fun to get free stuff, and it's really easy to enter both of those things. And again, more info on the PSI TV drawing will be out tomorrow. I would imagine pretty early in the day, as long as I can actually get around to it. But it's holidays, and I, just like everyone else, especially Zach, I definitely like my sleep.
I most certainly enjoy my sleep. Getting up at 6 in the morning to go to work is not pleasant on me.
In the same boat.
Yeah, I think we're all more night owls than morning people.
Yeah, definitely.
I don't get how morning people function, to be quite honest with you.
Well, I'll tell you what, I think most of them need a lot of coffee.
Oh,
Yeah.
I mean, I need coffee too, but that doesn't wake me up.
Yes, William Sean Wilson, this is part of a league. This is part of the Loose Lugnuts Racing Series. They're having their Christmas special here tonight from Talladega Super Speedway. So this is a non-points race. That's why you might see a bigger field than maybe normal, considering it's at Talladega and non-points, just out here to have some fun. And if you're new to the PSI TV page and you want to help support us, go ahead and leave a like on this video and on the page as well. And if you would, please, even if it's a 1-star rating, any feedback helps. So if you can leave a rating on the page as well, that always helps. We want to hear your thoughts since you guys are the ones watching the races.
As we get ready to go green here again, they're on the backstretch double file. Bob Wells will take us to the green flag coming around on the backstretch. Like I said, Bob Wells will be on point. Dustin Covington will be second. Brian Bizzle will be third. Ralph Wheeler will be fourth. Trevor Portelli will be fifth. William Wise will be sixth. Bradley P. Wilson seventh. Dustin Lee eighth. Alan Matting ninth. And to round out our top 10 will be Bob Eldred in 10th.
And on this restart, I'm going to go ahead and take us to the number 29. It's going to be Dustin Lee restarting, I believe, in the 8th spot. We're going to go on board with him just to show you guys kind of the intensity around these restarts. Even on lap 20 of 100, or well, this will be on lap 22 of 100, it's intense. Even if, you know, it's the first start of the race, it's intense because every position's on the line and every move you make now could impact the race later on. In case, I mean, we saw a lot of green flag racing already. We could go green from here, you never know. So every move you make has to be well calculated because it could impact the race later on.
And this is one of the most stressful parts of super speedway racing right here. This and the final 5 laps, because you don't know what other drivers are going to do. This is part of the easiest time to make up positions should someone not go or someone misses a shift or something as the pace car peels off. This is one of the most stressful times for each and every single driver, whether you're first or last. The 38 will start to come to lead us to green. I believe these guys go on green flag each and every time. Let's see if the 9 or the 14 are able to push the leaders out in front of one another to get a better position. We're getting ready to come to the green flag now. And I believe we are in green flag. The 48 will take off on the high side, give the lead to Dustin Covington across the line. And it looks like he might shoot back on the high side. The 38 and the 9 is going to get a better launch because they're already connected. Give it back to the 38 on the low side.
And as we continue to watch this one from the onboard of Dustin Lee, the number 29, up on the top side, 4th in line on the top side. Whoa, big moment there, and they're going to wreck.
On the go.
They're wrecking. Bradley Wilson gets hooked.
The top
That's the big
one.
one
to make it out of that.
That's the big one.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm not even sure what happened but that was the number 22 of, I believe, Billy Wise. They got hooked around there. Again, I'm not even sure what happened. We'll be watching it here. And just pay attention to the number 32, third in line on the top side. I think he just was trying to follow the 14 and got squirrely doing so. Ends up causing a huge accident. Bradley Wilson up and over on his roof. And really, I think Billy Wise was the guy who got out of that the best when you know, in terms of getting involved and moving on. But man, that was a big wreck.
From my point of view, it looks like the 32 was trying to follow the 14 the best he could. The 14 went low, he went low, 14 went a little high, and he tried to follow him. He just got his truck loose just a little bit too much to the point where he gets in contact with the 7 and the 51 and just sends them around. But that's what I'm seeing personally from it.
You know, I wish I could say that they wouldn't have made contact if it wasn't for the simulator, but I think they still would have made contact. But you did see a bit of netcode in that wreck there, and we'll touch on that in just a moment. We're going to catch up on some more of these replays Let's see, who could we get? I think we'll go to the 29 this time. And that really is just a huge accident down the back straightaway.
It really was. It pretty much blocked every single line that anyone could take to avoid that. There were trucks down on the apron, up on the track. I mean, if you didn't come to a complete stop, you were almost pretty much in that.
Yeah, there's pretty much nowhere to go for these guys, and just right off the restart, pretty much, Billy Wise trying to follow that number 14 and make sure he's hooked up square, ends up getting squarely down the back straightaway, and hooks a bunch of guys, ends up really, I mean, you know, don't want to bash on the 32, but just, you know, the course of events there ends up causing a huge wreck in the back, and even my computer is having a bit of trouble keeping up with that with all the smoke and the damage going on there. Absolute carnage.
And it just goes to show, like I was saying, this is one of the most stressful times for each driver out there, because they're trying to get each position, they're trying to get relined up, they're trying to get the trucks back up to speed, because coming out of turn 2, they're still not up to speed. These things take a while to wind up. It pretty much takes a whole lap for them to finally get back up to normal race speed. So these guys are trying to get lined up as best they can to get to speed to better their line, and it just havoc ensues.
And we're going to be watching some onboard cameras here over the next minute or so, just watching all the different angles of this wreck. I mean, that was really a big one. We're going to be watching from Craig Covington in the back here, the number 96 Speedco Chevrolet, and this one should be a sight. So I want you guys to pay attention right here to just the absolute carnage ahead of the 96. There's pretty much nowhere to go for these guys in the back because it all fans out so quickly that the track is pretty much blocked, and you have trucks likely ahead of you that are blocking your vision as well. So, you know, with the smoke, the absolute carnage, and guys that are still in front of you that haven't wrecked yet, it's impossible to find a way through these wrecks most of the time, but you see it here, just the absolute carnage up ahead of Craig Covington. He gets it backed all the way down. I don't think he's even involved in the wreck, but just total carnage there.
And person I think that really got the short end of the stick here would have been Bradley Wilson there. He almost got completely through it and ended up on his roof like you said earlier. He took his fast repair earlier from the damage he got, and then this is going to be his second one gone, so whatever happens with the truck from here on out is going to be his night.
Do want to mention, though, you know, it helps to have those two fast repairs. Obviously, this is his last one, so we'll probably see him and some others go to the back, but that's what keeps these guys alive, is they have two fast repairs, so we'll still see a lot of these trucks out on the track for at least the next little while, and looks like a bunch of guys out there participating in the sweepstakes here tonight with RTK Motorsports. I want to thank RTK Motorsports for putting that on, and obviously Loose Lugnuts for allowing this broadcast to happen.
Much thanks to everyone out there who's tuning in. Like you said, much thanks to Loose Lugnuts for letting us get up here and call this race. And everyone else involved, nothing but thanks.
For sure, and I want to go back to the point that I was going to make on netcode. So if you're not an iRacer, or if you haven't watched one of these streams before and heard the term netcode, basically what we mean by netcode is a space in between two trucks where it doesn't look like they're going to hit. However, the simulator registers them as making contact, and therefore you generally have a wreck like we saw there. I don't think it would have prevented that wreck from happening if there was no netcode. I think they still would have wrecked, but it certainly played a factor in it. And especially on these big tracks like this where more has to be rendered, and there's generally more cars in the field moving at a much higher rate of speed, it's harder for the simulator to catch up, and these netcode incidents where it's just an impurity in the connection often cause big wrecks like we just saw there. And, you know, just want to remind you watching, it's not that it isn't realistic, it's just that, you know, iRacing pretty much literally means internet racing, so these things will happen, it's part of it, and we do what we can and we move on.
Yeah, I've been a part of fair share being wrecked by netcode and wrecking because of netcode, and you know, it's something way out of their control. They can't control it, or the racers can't control it, and you know, it really hurts when you get either taken out or take someone out because of netcode. But at the same time, you got to know that they didn't do it intentionally. you were saying iRacing registered them in the place that they weren't at, but the simulator registered them at that certain position, to which it wrecks another driver. So I can't really put any blame on anybody. It's just a terrible feeling. That's really all it is. But at the same time, you can't really blame anyone because it is of internet impurity and because of iRacing impurity.
For sure, and we have Jared Carnegie out in the chat asking what platform these guys are racing on. This is on the iRacing.com simulator, which is only available on your PC. There are a full list of everything you need to know, basically, be it system requirements, various things, hardware, software, all that stuff on the iRacing.com website. So you can just go to iRacing.com and find out more. And just want to take one moment to thank all of our sponsors. We picked up a bunch just this past week, really, these past few weeks especially. Guys like Race Agent, Glenn Richards Designs, Over the Top Paints, Monkey Motorsports, iRacing Drivers World Group, the iRacing Weekend Warriors, CN Designs, Pit Stop Insider, Oliver Mobile Fleet Repair, Scott Burlington Images, everyone that goes into making these broadcasts happen. Thank you once more. Merry Christmas to everyone watching, and especially those that really support us. It's really appreciated. And, at least for myself, these broadcasts are a lot of fun.
Oh, I completely agree. These ones are really fun. I thank you for having me up here, and yeah.
Now, as we're getting ready for the restart, Brendan, we just saw one heck of a restart that ended up in a huge wreck. And you mentioned Bradley Wilson getting sent back, probably getting the short end of the stick, but he's back up there in 6th place. What do you think we're going to see here, Brendan?
I'm hoping that we don't get a replay of the last restart. Definitely be good to get some long green flag runs here, maybe spread out the field some more. But yeah, still a lot of racing left. We got working on, that'd be 75 laps coming up, I believe, here to go. So definitely a lot of racing left to get things settled out, and we'll see what they can do with it.
Yeah, we'll have 74 to go when these guys go green, and that's a lot of racing, especially at a plate track like this. 2.66 miles every lap. That adds up to a lot of time over the course of 74 laps.
Yeah, definitely.
We'll be going on board this time aboard the number 90 of Travis Zudema. Yes, that's how you say it. I remember now. We'll be going on board with him via the cockpit camera on pretty much the visor of the driver right here, and he'll be restarting behind Bradley Wilson in the Pedigree Chevrolet. Be waiting for the green here. Zach, it's up to you.
As we get ready we're pretty much crossed the whole trioval right here. Green flag is in the air. The bottom line gets connected quick. I believe that's the 38 of Bob Wells and the 58 of Jason Hughes. These guys get connected quick, but the high line stays with them. The first one across the line will be the 38, as the bottom line is really starting to connect. The top line is coming in, however. These guys are going to have to get connected quick. The bottom line is about a truck and a half in front of the high line. And it looks like the bottom line is really taking off here on the restart. The bottom line got the best restart out of them all. And give the lead back to the 38.
Yeah, and these guys are kind of a bit stagnant further back of these first couple of lanes. Pretty much no motion for really the top 10. After that, they've kind of spread out a little bit, gotten down to one lane. And actually that top line going backwards, you see the leader there, I think that's the 13 up top on the top lane, not really doing his job on the top lane. Basically, if you're going to restart up front on the top, you have to be down right on the doors of the guys to your inside to work that side draft and really help that top lane out. I think you'll see some of these other guys get kind of impatient with him as the laps go on if he doesn't get working there. And it could just be that he doesn't want to push yet. Don't really know. A car sideways in the back.
Oh. As we're continue watching up here with the 13, like you were saying, he's got to stick down. Bradley Wilson going to split him 3 wide now. It looked like he accepted his fate to stay on the high side, but he can't really swing out too high going into each corner. The cars behind you want to either follow you or push you out, and that could be a recipe for disaster for everyone else behind you, especially the trucks pushing. So the 13, not bashing him, not saying that he's a bad driver or a bad super speedway driver, I'm just saying, he made a little bit of a mistake. My personal opinion, made a little bit of a mistake, but he was able to get out of everyone's way and not cause any of caution.
Yeah, it's something these guys just have to work on throughout the night. And, I believe Brennan hasn't really run one of these races to full length yet. So, even in the case of Brennan, it'd be something to work on throughout the race, take notes what these guys are doing. It's not that hard, to just watch what these guys are doing. And, as long as you try, as long as you put an effort forth, you'll figure it out. Especially, the iRacing community in general, if you find the right guys, is very helpful when it comes to things like that, as long as you're willing to learn. And, all you have to do is ask a question and you'll get help. But that 13 is falling all the way back to the front pack. Maybe just doesn't want to be up there right now. That could be part of it. But, we'll see exactly if he gets back up there what he can do. As right now it looks like the 58 going to the top side, that's going to be Jason Hughes.
Yeah. And Brendan, it's really hard to keep your truck right where you want to keep it going into the corner. You don't want to squeeze the bottom line if you're on the high line. You don't want to squeeze the bottom line too hard. They could wash up and get into you, but you can't go way up high because the trucks behind you either want to push at you or they want to force a 3 wide and in essence cause a disaster. So it's really tough to put your truck in a position where it needs to be going into each corner, but you don't really want to try to force anything.
Yeah, definitely. Obviously, you got to think that you're all here in a group. You need to work together as a group to go fast here. So you just got to keep that in the back of your mind. You can't race to win it right away. It's like you said, the most stressful time, probably those last 5 laps, is when we'll see people really start to break out and pull some moves.
And right now, down on the bottom, Bob Wells commanding that inside line with the help of series champion in 2017, Wesley Holland, in the Jimmy John's Freaky Fast number 4. And right behind him is going to be Travis Zudema in the number 90. Those guys are really helping that bottom line out, and they're really getting it moving. The top line is going to have the advantage on exit. That's just the nature of these races. They can carry more momentum throughout the corner, and so they're faster coming out of the corner down to the next. And that's why you see them kind of even the lane out a little bit, but that bottom line is really moving, honestly, with those top 3 in the line.
Yeah, you're right. But as long as they stay connected, if, like we see right now, the 90's fading back a little bit, the 4's got no help, therefore he can't give the 38 any help. This is going to give the high line a little bit of advantage coming out of turn 2, but like we just saw, the 51 wasn't able to give the 14 any help, which wasn't able to give the 58 help, and it leveled out the line. So these guys, if they want to advance the line, they're going to have to stay connected.
Now, a question out in the chat, Jonathan Payne again, is the double yellow line in play? Now, the clarification with that, obviously it isn't printed as a double yellow line in the sim. This is an older scan of Talladega Super Speedway. But basically, if you pass below that yellow line, I believe iRacing gives you a penalty normally. I could be wrong there. But generally that's not allowed. We would have to get a clarification on it, but to answer your question, generally not allowed. We'll see exactly what these guys do. I think they're all going to stay above the yellow line, though, because really it doesn't help you to go down there, because oftentimes you get shut out and you can't get back onto the track, and then you wreck. Want to thank one more time all the viewers out there, as well as everyone supporting us. JT... Oh, I already forgot the name of it. RTK Motorsports? Yes, RTK Motorsports. I can think. We'll be giving away a t-shirt to whoever can pick the top 3 drivers at the finish correctly. And if you pick the correct winner, you will also get a hat from RTK Motorsports. They are a real racing team that is bridging over to iRacing in 2018, so you can get some free merchandise from them just by picking who you think will finish in the top 3.
Looking like this front pack here is finally starting to get things all worked out. They're starting to get pretty tight with each other. We'll see. Actually, looks like they're gonna oh, the 141 thinking about pushing it 3 wide. We'll see what it. Bradley Wilson's gonna shut the door on him going into 3.
Like the 14 almost forced a 3 wide for the lead. It's going to slow down the high side just a little bit, give the advantage to the low side coming out of turn 3 as these guys scatter. It looks like they're going 3 wide back here for 7th and 8th now, but slow down that high line just a little bit and give the advantage to the low line.
And as these guys continue to battle up in the front, your top 5 looking like they may have the strongest trucks out on the track. You've got Bob Wells, who's been commanding this part of the race, Jason Hughes as well as Wesley Holland, and other guys like Ralph Wheeler, who started on the pole, and you even have Travis Zudema up there in the number 90. So a bunch of really good trucks up there in the top 5 so far.
Oh yeah, I can 100% agree. I got to give credit to the 58 and the 14. They're able to stick with this 3-car pack on the bottom, even though it doesn't look like it. These guys are actually commanding that high line, giving the draft to the 51 and the 141, and enabling them to get back to them to push the high line, and even keeping their trucks right there with the 3-car pack down there on the low line. So these guys got some fast trucks up here. We're just going to have to see if they can put them to really good use coming down towards the end of it.
Yeah, and I'm glad I went to the camera I did just now. Went to the spotter cam that's stationed all the way in the tri-oval. We just saw a huge push from that top line. Bradley Wilson got behind Ralph Wheeler and really pushed that top line forward a ton. And you see that's going to push Jason Hughes down to the bottom. He actually made the move to go down there and try and command that bottom line now. And that's going to put Ralph Wheeler in the P1 spot as long as he holds this run throughout the tri-oval. Bradley Wilson now looking to get into second.
And that's one of the hardest decisions to make as a driver. As soon as you finally get out in that clean air, you're the first driver to start to come across the line. It's either do you go down to the bottom or do you stay up top? Now, on the bottom, you get a run going into the corner. On the top, you get a run coming out of the corner. And with these fixed setups, you're going to get sucked back to everyone that's behind you. You're not going to get out there and stay in front of everyone. You're going to have to rely on a push. So it's really stressful as soon as you get out there in that clean air, what you're going to need to do.
Oh, we're wrecking in the back! We're wrecking in the back! That's the 32 again.
32 backwards into the wall, sliding back down the track.
The 51 was not quite able to grab the lead from the 14s. So the 14's going to be scored to your leader here coming across the line.
Getting a look back at this wreck now, immediately we see William Wise ends up getting turned here. The 48 was trying to go 3 wide, and ends up getting into the 00, has to turn back down the track to keep from wrecking the 00, ends up collecting the 32, and it's just on from there. Another big wreck, this time in turn 3. Last time it was out of turn 2. And unfortunately, this could be the demise of Billy Wise, depending on what his situation is with fast repairs. If that's his second one that he has to use right here, or if he's already used his second one, he's in a bad spot either way. So, yeah, you just see there the 48 was trying to go 3 wide. There wasn't a hole, and just chaos ensues.
Yeah.
Correct myself here. It does look like Bradley Wilson was able to get past him. He'll be scored your leader at the moment.
And as we watch the replay one more time here, the number 48, watch for him to make the move down low, tries to fill the gap in the middle lane, and the 00 just comes down, completely shuts the door, and really there was just no hole to make that one work. And again, you see chaos ensue further back, and you know, unfortunately, I think that it might take out a few trucks, because that's about the 3rd wreck we've seen now.
Yeah, the 3rd major accident of the night for sure.
Well, we got a wreck in the pits. The 88 got spun trying to get into his pit. That's going to be Roy Atkinson, the 3rd, gets spun going into his pits. He's trying to get leveled out now, so he's not in anyone's way, but major damage to that 88.
We'll be watching this. The 88 center of your screen will watch him here. I think he's going to pull into his pit box maybe, and there wasn't enough warning. Yeah, was not enough warning for Wesley Holland. Wesley Holland right into the back of the 88 of Roy Atkinson, the 3rd. Spins him right around, and I don't think he's even going to be able to make it to his pit box, and I think he may end up having to tow here. So that's a huge, really tough rake for Roy Atkinson, the 3rd.
And it looked like the 88 was about to miss it. He tries to check up real quick, tries to take a harder left more than anyone else, and the 4 was trying to get into his pit, and just miscommunication by both of those drivers trying to get into their pits respectively.
Yeah, and you see the 88 struggling for a while there to get his pit stop done. He finally does get the pit stop completed and gets away, but we'll watch that one more time. This time from another camera. This will show it a little bit better. And yeah, I mean, you'll see here in a moment, the 88 center of your screen will end up trying to turn left a little bit late, admittedly, for his pit box. Is it trying to turn left and immediately slow down? And I think if he had just stayed pretty much at the same speed for about a half a second longer, I don't think Wesley Holland would have hit him. And, you know, that's just the problem with pit stops here is, you know, if you haven't made any pit stops to this point, I don't think you would have had to. And so you might not know where your pit box is, what your pit board looks like, and you see that kind of thing happen. It's just part of NASCAR racing, in all honesty.
Yeah, even trying to get into your pits, you got to have a clean mind, and trying to get into your pits, you got to concentrate. Really, the only time you can rest when you're ever racing is when the pit stop finally starts happening, and that's only for about 13 seconds. You got to get back out there. You got to watch for everyone so you don't hit anyone in pit lane again. So it's really a stressful time all around this track.
Yeah, it definitely is, and overall this caution is going to end up putting, I believe, Jason Hughes right back to the lead, and I think we may try and dial him up depending on what the pit lights do here in just a moment. Looks like we'll have a chance to talk with him. Jason Hughes, this is Andrew Cardinal in the PSI TV booth. Do you have a copy?
I got you, bud.
Well, Jason, we talked to you a little while ago for a bit of an overview on this league, the Loose Lugnuts, Racing League. And right now you're currently leading the race. You sounded pretty confident earlier. Do you think you can close this thing out in that number 58 Bad Santa truck?
You know, I do. I feel like if I keep my truck out front tonight and kind of control my own destiny, I think I can keep it up here and pull this W out.
Well, that's certainly what we want to hear. A bunch of confidence out of you here tonight. And is there anyone you want to give a shout out to before we let you go?
Yeah, man, you guys broadcasting, all the fans that you bring with it, and always, of course, over the top paints and design. I'm sure you guys see up there all these trucks looking good tonight with the Christmas spirit. So yeah, gotta always shoot out them boys.
All right, sounds good, Jay. Well, best of luck to you in the rest of this race. We'll be starting first on this restart. It'll be a lot of fun watching. It has been so far, so just keep it up.
All right, thanks, guys.
And that was Jason Hughes out of the Great Plains in that number 58 Bad Santa Chevrolet Silverado, painted by Over the Top Paints and Designs. And again, you can go to Over the Top Paints and Designs for all your iRacing needs. And they're our main paint sponsor of the night tonight, as we are broadcasting one of the Loose Lugnut Racing League races. So again, this is the Christmas special for this league, so no points on the line. These guys are kind of just out here to go all out and see if they can win.
Yeah, no points, no money, just all out good racing.
So, Brendan, we're almost to the midpoint of the race. Picks are going to be due very, very soon for the top three and the winners. So, has your pick changed at all?
For my winner, I don't believe so. Bradley Wilson, like we said before, the pit stops came through. He was the leader, and right now he's pegged in fourth. So I think he's still got a good chance of winning this tonight.
Now, Zach, I got to ask you the same thing. As we near the halfway point of this race, has your pick changed at all?
Not really. I got to stick with him. I got to stick with Ralph Wheeler in the 14. He was able to stick with a low line that was more clumped together more than the high line was, and him and the 58 were able to stick with them. So I got to stick with the 14, man. I believe he can get up there, right moment, right time, and put that 14 in victory lane. Andrew, do you want to change your pick?
Definitely not. I think if we get that number 29, back up to the front, and without connection issues, he probably has a pretty good chance. We saw him obviously qualify second place, so he has to have a clue of what he's doing. So I think if you get him back up there, he can figure out how to win this race here tonight. And John Hedrick out in the chat, thank you for reminding us. The new season of the Loose Lugnuts Racing Series going into 2018 will be starting on January 4th, 2018. Unfortunately, that weekend, PSI TV will be booked with the K-Vegas Snowball Derby weekend, and we'll have all kinds of racing that weekend. Possibly the qualifying and LCQs, but definitely the Snowflake 100, brought to you by Larson Remodeling, and the Snowball Derby brought to you by K-Vegas Printing and Apparel.
We do have the lights out on the base car here. So we're usually around through turn 3. Jason Hughes, as we mentioned on the pole here, is going to take him away.
Yeah, and we see that number 13 back up towards the front this time. It's going to be Brian Tribble, sorry. Botched that name completely. Brian Tribble in the 13, we saw him sink all the way back to the end of this first pack on the last restart. We'll see if he can hold it up there this time. These guys just got to really take notes on what everyone else does around them and see what they can do later on. Jason Hughes, though, in control of this restart.
Yeah, we have the pace car off, heading down pit lane as we go through the tri-oval here, coming up to the green flag. And we're underway.
Off and away is Jason Hughes in the number 58 Bad Santa Chevrolet Silverado, and they'll be heading off into turn 1, lap 42 of 100 this time. The 76 of Ronald Klein trying to work that top side. Bradley Wilson behind him in line, getting on his bumper, trying to get him going.
Definitely a good start for the low line here as they're starting to pull away. 38's going to get sucked in with them through the draft. And looks like our high line's starting to form now too.
Yeah, it normally takes a moment for that top line to get going because there's always this this lack of communication on if they want to push or not immediately. And so we see Bradley Wilson trying to work that top side in that yellow truck, the Pedigree Chevrolet, and he's trying to get it going. Looks like now the 76 is probably on the same page with him, trying to get that top line moving as well.
They're able to keep that high line right there. The second car in on the low line, they're able to keep the the trucks right there. They're actually able to get a run and suck up the rest of the high line with them. So this is about to get real racy real quick.
And again, you can see all these brilliant Christmas paint schemes out here on the track tonight. Pretty much on all these cars right on your screen, aside from the 51. All these trucks are painted by over-the-top design, so you can head over there and they'll satisfy all your paint scheme needs here on iRacing. As you can see, quite a few of them out here that look pretty good. That top line struggling all the way up to the wall pretty much. Ronald Klein trying to get going with Bradley Wilson on his bumper. Bradley's really trying to get that 76 truck moving, Brennan.
It definitely looks like they're actually going to get looks like they couldn't quite do it. Klein is going to pull to the bottom side, just going to leave Bradley, your leader, on the top side here. So we go into turn 1.
And that was a great move out of Bradley. He got just enough of a run to get to the outside of the 76 and cut him off, but unfortunately the 7 wasn't able to get to his bumper and get him going. That's going to be the 7 of Trevor Pertelli. Wasn't able to get to his bumper quick enough to really get him moving, but now he's there. He's going to try and push him down the back straight away.
Yeah, definitely. Like we mentioned earlier in the race, coming off the corners, the high line does have the better line there that they can get the pace going. As we see the inside line starting to pull away. Looked like for a second there, Klein was thinking about popping out and running the high side again, but he's going to stay down low. As our high line starts to get a run, actually 13 and the 51 make a little bit of contact there, looks like. Able to keep it going straight, maybe just a neck code deal.
And it looks like the 7 was inside the 51 there for a little bit.
Yeah.
We had the 005 almost around. We might have trucks in the wall.
Somehow they all keep it going, but I did see the 88 in the fence. That was a big moment there. We'll get a replay on that real quick. So we're watching.
Was almost
this time we'll be watching.
Sideways.
We'll be watching the 88 of Roy Atchison III out of Porterville, California. That was a big moment there for a lot of these guys. I'm not really sure what happened the first time around because we got blocked by a big old Geico flag. We'll watch this time. And just, the 005 and 88 get into each other. 88 gets shoved into the fence, and that could have been a lot worse.
A lot worse, but kudos to these guys for keeping it straight, keeping it green. I mean, that's one heck of driving by each and every one of these individuals to make sure that their trucks stay clean, their trucks stay straight. Heck of a driving by the 05 to keep it straight, or the 005 to keep it straight. That's That was impressive.
But the thing that did do is separate the front and the back of this front pack. You've got 8 trucks out there now, double file, 2x2x2x2, currently leading the way, and then there's another group of guys that aren't really organized at all, a little further back, but they'll probably have the draft of this front group, and if they can get a line moving, I think they'll catch them very, very easily and create probably a 15 truck pack again.
Like the high side's fading off just a little bit. There's only 2 trucks of this lead pack on the high side. It's the 13 of Brian Tribble and the 51 of Bradley Wilson. Everyone else is on the low line. The 4 looking to go back to the high side brings the 90 with him. The 4 of Wesley Holland and the 90 of Travis Zudema.
Now, as these guys come around, you've got about 3.5 laps left to make your picks. If you want to win a t-shirt or a hat from RTK Motorsports, that one. If you want to win a shirt or a hat from RTK Motorsports, a real race team that is now bridging over to sim racing, you have to pick now. You can pick the top 3 that you think will finish in the top 3 at the end of tonight's 100-lap event. You've got about 3 laps now to do so. You can also pick the winner for tonight, and you can get a hat for the winner, a t-shirt for the top 3. It's really worth it, even if you end up wrong. It's totally worth it. You're just picking numbers, and you have a chance at a t-shirt, a totally free t-shirt, and a totally free hat. So definitely pick right now. You've got about 2.5 laps now to do that.
As you were talking about the picks, Andrew, the second pack finally, or actually caught up to the front pack. We're making this about another 15
Wesley Holland to the
strong.
top side. He has a truck with him. I think that's the number 90 of Travis Zudema, I want to say. Again, a lot of new guys, so the names might not come to us quite quickly enough, but Bradley Wilson and the 13 of Brian Tribble are going to be left in the middle, and this is not good for the guys up front. This is just going to bring the guys in the back closer and closer.
The side draft works in many ways here, and when you're in the middle like that, you're getting side drafted off both the top and the bottom. So at that point, it's all up to the horsepower inside the truck. If you still got it, these guys are able to make it work. It looked like the 90 just tapped the wall just a little bit. And it looks like the 4 was in the wall that time, slows up the 90, and it looks like the 90 is going to have to back way off.
And that's going to completely kill that top line, but Wesley Holland will be able to pull in behind the 51 and try and get that top line moving. Here, if he does so, he's still in the top lane. Not really sure what's going on there, but yeah, we saw that bit of an interesting incident there with the 90 and the 4. Really don't know what happened. It looks like there was some lag going on to influence that, but they'll keep it green, and these guys are still running, coming to the halfway point in just about a lap. So currently Ronald Klein will be your leader, 1 lap until the halfway point. The 76 really strong down on the bottom side with Jason Hughes behind him. I think those guys are working together. I believe they're both admins of the series, so they're definitely working to try and win this race for at least one of the two. And that top line being led right now by Brian Tribble. Looks like he did maybe just want to go to the back earlier, because now he's leading that top line pretty good. Bradley Wilson with the 4 of Wesley Holland on his bumper, and those guys are really trying to get that top line moving. We see Dustin Lee getting into the picture as well.
You know, I've been watching the 13 and the 51. The only thing that I'm having trouble with the 13 here is getting into each and every corner. He swings out really wide, or he's in between those 2 white lines, and you know, if that's helping him driving, I've got nothing against it. Just it doesn't really help the guys behind him. They're trying to figure out where he's going to start to turn in. They're trying to figure out how fast he's going to be getting into the corner, as he does take the lead that lap. But it's really hard for the guys behind him, and it could end up making a mistake that causes the whole field to wreck.
Yeah, not to mention on that's killing your side draft when you get that far away from the cars to the inside there. Looks like Bradley Wilson's going to try and make it 3 wide here. Have a lap car, so we'll see how they're going to work this out. They're actually catching up to him really quick here. Going to go high. Looks like Wilson's going to back out of it.
Yeah, I'd imagine Bradley got up there, saw that lap truck, and decided he has to pull back in and wait for a better chance to do that. But now he's going to have that opportunity because that lap truck isn't in the way, and he goes right back to the top side trying to bring Dustin Lee with him. Dustin Lee is going to leave him out to dry, and yeah, I mean, that's just
back, yep.
That's a pretty zealous move right there by the 51 to try and make something happen, and it's not going to work out for him this time, but looks like maybe a truck in the back, I think that's 00, might work with him. No, so 141. So basically a bottom line forming down on the bottom. Ronald Klein, totally learning that. No, leading that line right now in the number 76. Nightmare Before Christmas Chevrolet. And Wesley Holland to the top side. That's a moment.
Oh! These guys almost sideways, almost into each other. They were able to collect it. It was the 38 who almost got hooked by the 13. They're able to keep it straight, keep the line moving, and keep the momentum.
Yeah, that was really close to another big wreck. We saw Wesley Holland make that move to the top side, try and get in front of the 38 of Bob Wells, and it worked for a moment, and then these guys were just a little too close, and I don't know how they didn't wreck. That was some great driving there.
The second time, crisis was averted, but they can only get away with death so many times. I think another big one's a brewing here, boys.
And as we look back from the 4 at the 38 right now, you can see just how close these guys are, and actually going inside of each other now. That's just a bit of the simulator not doing its job, but these guys are really close. They're only feet apart. Even on a simulator, this is nerve-wracking and very difficult to do, but currently it looks like that 76 is going to get an even bigger lead on the bottom, with Jason Hughes working that bottom side with him.
Looks like the line, top line was going to form up there just a little bit, and they kind of did. The 14, the 51 abandoned the high line, went down to the low line. We've pretty much got 4 trucks on the low line pushing, and we're getting ready to have 4 on the high side pushing.
And here come the 29 and the 13 right back into this conversation. We saw them drop back a little bit, got disorganized, and now they're coming right back into it, Brennan.
Yeah, along with Bradley Wilson there, you saw he got shuffled out when he tried to go 3 wide. He's caught back up now with this front pack here.
And it's amazing how one little bump in any part of the draft is able to push your truck over to the limit. I mean, like you were saying, Brendan, the 51 got shuffled out. He probably got one little bump inside the draft, and it just pushed his truck back up there to the front. He may not be up there now, but another little bump, and that could push you right back up to the front as the 4 takes the lead, the outright lead, and 38 looks like he's clear to the bottom as well.
Yeah, so we're seeing some more organized racing up in the front now. I think they're starting to calm down. They realize they still have a long ways to go. Granted, there's no points on the line. This is just for fun and bragging rights here on PSI TV, pretty much. I think that's kind of what they're going for the most. We see this front pack, back pack forming again. Bradley Wilson barely able to hang on to this front pack right now, actually, as it looks like we've got about 8 trucks in this front pack once again, and then another, it looks like 7 behind them.
He's going to get caught up here, though. He's trailing in the back, but he's definitely caught up with the 14 here, so he's definitely going to be part of the group here.
Yeah, and currently Wesley Holland, your 2017 champion, I believe in both the Truck Series and Xfinity Series here at the Loose Lugnuts Racing League, leading the way here at Talladega right now. And obviously he knows what he's doing with these guys because he won 2 championships this past season here in 2017, and now he's putting on a show once again in the Jimmy John's Freaky Fast number 4.
And I definitely think the guys up front have learned their lesson about going 3 wide here. It's been quite a few laps since anyone's tried to push it. I think they're finally just getting settled in and wanting to race here.
Looks like the 13 is going to try to force a 3 wide, gets back in behind the 76. It looked like the 13 was going to try to peek to the outside coming out of turn 3 there for just a little bit.
Yeah, I think that may just be his driving line. He's been doing that a lot where I don't know if he's trying to cut the air off of the car in front of him, or the truck, excuse me, in front of him, by going to the outside and making it harder for him to turn, or what's going on here, but it looks like he pitches it. Actually, he's going to go 2 wide here. Not very cleanly, though. It's actually going to slow that pack down, or that line down, excuse me.
And we're currently watching from the onboard of the 317 Alan Madding as he's working that draft to bring that backpack right up to the front again. And it's working so far, they're starting to close the gap. And a moment up in the front. I see what you were talking about there, Zach.
Yeah, the 13 got a huge run on the 38. The 38 had to check up just a little bit for the 4. 13 did not check up at all and got into the back of the 38. The 38 got a little loose, was able to keep it straight. That's the second time the 38's almost been sideways and was able to keep it straight. 13 almost got a taste of his own medicine, however, the 29.
And there goes the 76 to the top side, going to try and use that top side to try and get back to the lead ahead of the 4 of Wesley Holland. It looks like he may get a run.
Yeah, losing some momentum in the middle of the corner there. It looks like not going to get very much drive coming off, like we said earlier. The high line quicker off the corners, so
Yeah,
start to
Ronald
fall back a
Klein
little bit.
easily going to clear Wesley Holland. We'll see if he moves down or if he keeps Bob Wells behind him here, Brennan.
Looks like he is going to try and go for the lead here on the
Oh,
line.
they
Oh, we
get
have a car around the
tapped!
38 and the 4.
And that's a huge wreck, at least for the guys involved. A couple of huge hits, but most of the field, I think, will make it through unscathed. So Bob Wells involved in that one, and that's really going to hurt that truck. He's going to have to tow it to the pits, and that's going to really hurt his race.
Huge hit by the 10. The 10 of Bob Eldred just got into the driver's side or the passenger side of him, lifted that truck's front wheels off the ground. Huge impact.
And, you know, I think that all started possibly with the 13 and the 4. It's definitely where it ended up starting. We'll go back and watch this one more time to see exactly what happens. Don't want to place blame just yet. So we'll be watching here from the spotter cam all the way in the tri-oval, and it looks like the 4 moves up. But it's hard to tell if the 4 moved up or the 13 came down, and then, yeah, Bob Wells just got drilled by the 10 of Bob Eldred.
I think it's just kind of a mix of both. The 4 was coming up a little bit, the 13 was coming down, and it just, there was no room there, and they were trying to go for the same real estate, and just caused a caution.
So we're going to take this chance at this caution to try and get another interview done. We'll see who we can bring up. I think we'll talk to a bit of a familiar voice, Bradley Wilson.
Might want to give him just a sec. He just came into the pits. Get his pit stop through here.
All right, we'll give him enough chance to get out of his pit box and then dial him up. So real quick, out in the chat, to those of you watching, we've still got almost 40 viewers out there. Let's have a bit of a roll call. Let us know where you're watching from and who you're pulling for. And while you guys do that, we're going to bring in Bradley Wilson. Bradley Wilson, this is Andrew Cardinale in the PSI TV booth. Do you have a copy?
Yeah, I got you, bud.
Well, Bradley, we've been watching you pretty much all race long. Brennan has picked you for the win, and hopefully that's not the broadcaster's curse, but you've been doing really good in that number 51. How's it been looking out there for you and trying to get this win?
It's been pretty good. We started at the back, messed up and kind of goofed up the qualifying on my own and ran both laps on the bottom, so that put us deep in the field. And just running with a bunch of guys that I've not really ever ran with, so I'm trying to fill them out and, you know, be patient with it and see where we've ended up. We've got up to the front once, and, you know, we'll see if we can't do it again at the end.
Sounds good. Well, I'll open it up for Brennan and Zach to ask you any questions that they may have.
You nervous at all? I saw that you had to take both those pasture pairs for you, so you're on your last one. You playing a little more cautious, or are you just gonna go out there?
You know, I've got one still sitting in the bank, so
Okay.
the more of the cautious you see is just I'm not, like I said, I haven't turned very many laps with these guys or with this truck since the aero package, so I wasn't sure what it was gonna do. And you know, I don't want to wreck anybody, ruin their night, you know, being a guest over here, so just playing it cautious, be respectful, and you know, that's what you're seeing mostly.
Yeah, definitely.
You were able to got hung out there 3 wide at one point, and you were able to force your way back up there pretty much with the lead pack and stick with them. Is that part of your strategy, to fall to the back, stay in the front? What's pretty much the strat right now?
Well, the first time I did it, it was by design. I drove up to the front, you know, drove up to the front on the top, and I wanted to drop to the back and see if I could do it on the bottom to kind of figure out my options late in this race. But the second time I did it, it got hot. I stayed pretty much nose to tail with the truck in front of me, and temp gauge started blinking, so I figured it'd probably be best just to hit that third line and drop to the back and race my way back up to the front since I'd already done it once.
Yeah, I thought it was going to be by design as well. You and I personally have worked together on the high side. We've gotten things done on the high side. I thought you were trying to get another guy to follow you up there, but yeah, you got to take care of the truck, got to take care of the temps. You can't go down on any horsepower. So Yeah, I feel you out there.
Oh yeah, you know me. I love it high, wide, and handsome. That's the only way to get around the plate tracks.
Well, Brad, thanks for your time. We'll be back down and let you get ready for this restart here.
Yes, sir. Thanks, boys.
And that was Bradley Wilson in the number 51 pedigree truck here, putting on a great show, currently in the 4th spot. And actually, real quick, before we go back green, I'm going to bring up Ronald Klein and let you guys interview him real quick.
Alrighty. Ronald Klein, this is Zach in the PSI TV booth. You got a copy, bud?
Roger that, Zach. How's it going?
It's going pretty good. I was going to ask you the same thing. I mean, you've had a strong truck all night. You've been able to get it out there and pretty much keep it up front with Jason Hughes behind you. Is that by design? Do you want to stay up front, or did you want to go to the back? What were you thinking here?
I don't really worry too much about qualifying. I started working my way up through the field. Missed my pit on the first caution, so I had to come back around on the second lap. That kind of put me behind. Then I got involved in that accident, and then from then on, I just worked my way towards the front, and it's by design. I'm trying to stay up front. I will push the line. You know, it's a leapfrog game. It's very common, but I'll push that guy out in front and jump to the outside lane and try to leapfrog. I'm going to try to keep this thing out front for the rest of the race.
Yeah, I hear you, bud. Now, we saw you really working that low line, but as soon as you got passed on the high side and opportunity presented itself, you jumped back up there on the high side, like you said, leapfrogging. Is there any preference of what you want to stay? Do you want to stay on the low side? Do you feel like the high side is going to be the way to go? What are you feeling there?
It all depends on who's behind you. That 51 is a really good pusher, so if he's down on the bottom lane, when it comes down to the end, I'll stay there. If a 58's down there, I'll stay down there. But if either one of them are, you know, if I don't have one of those two behind me and an opportunity comes to jump up top and get in front of them, I'm going to go to the high side.
I hear you, bud. Brendan, you got anything for him, Andrew?
I just want to wish you some good luck tonight. Hopefully we can see you possibly coming away with the win here.
I appreciate that. That's what we're shooting for.
Alrighty.
And real quick, Ronald, just want to wish you the best of luck and have a quick question. Looked earlier like maybe you were working with Jason Hughes there in the 58. Is that the case?
We seem to work pretty well together. We're communicating lines and making it so our bumpers are staying matched up. So Jason has a similar driving style to me, so doesn't matter when it comes down the end. If he's in front of me and I got nowhere to go, I'll push him to the win, and hopefully it'll be the same in reverse.
Sounds good. Well, before you guys get going again, we'll move back down. And again, best of luck out here, and we're looking forward to talking to you later on.
Got that. I want to thank you guys for putting on the broadcast. Big shout out to John Hendrick for putting this thing on. He's the owner of Loose Lugnuts Racing, and he also does over the top paints and designs. Did all these beautiful paint jobs. Want to say thank you to him, and hope he's enjoying the race.
Sounds good. Thank you, man.
Thanks, guys.
And again, that was the number 76 of Ronald Klein, one of the higher ups here in the Loose Lugnuts Racing Series. Good to talk with him and get his outlook on the rest of this race. But we're coming to the green flag here, and it's a couple of guys have been working together most of the night, really. The 76, 58 alongside each other, with the 4 of Wesley Holland and Bradley Wilson in the 51 to his outside in row number 2.
Get ready to go here. Looks like they're going to have pace car going to peel off this time. We're going to have to see which line gets a better jump going in or coming to the green flag. Pace car peels off, coming to this long straightaway here, coming to this long green flag.
Yeah, you got to wait quite a while through the trial, and these guys are going to have 38 laps to go. Oh, a mix-up in the back. I think we'll get that sorted out in time, but up at the front, Ronald Klein with the call on the restart, and he's going to get going with the green flag in the air. Actually, he took a second to get going, might have missed a shift or something. The 58 going to pull away with the lead, and Bradley Wilson on his bumper.
And the 4 had to tail back a little bit just to check up forms. They're not quite formed up yet. Looks like he's going to get sucked back up there, and looks like we'll be even up front coming out of 4.
And Bradley Wilson working with the 58 of Jason Hughes, currently trying to get him up into the lead. And I guarantee you, Bradley wants to get going. He loves working the top side, as we've been talking about all night long. So we'll see how he works with Jason Hughes, I think possibly for one of the first times all night. But that bottom line, getting the run through the corner. Obviously, they're going a shorter distance on the top side, but watch the top side get a run here out of turn 4.
It looks like those guys pretty much stay side by side that whole lap. It looked like the 58 was going to have the advantage. Now the low line's going to have a little bit of the advantage. Give the lap lead back to the 76. But, I mean, these guys have pretty much stayed side by side. Here comes some help behind each of those lines respectively.
I just want to mention I saw Wesley Holland kind of get to the left side of Ronald Klein's bumper. You want to be careful of that, because if you get to the left side, especially if the guy in front of you has any kind of rear end damage, it can be very tragic, basically. I mean, it can turn the guy right around. That's kind of the danger of pushing on the left side of the bumper, is you can really hook a guy really easily, especially with damage on that bumper. It's just, you can do it, it's just not exactly recommended.
Yeah, with the push in right in the middle, you're more liable to hook the driver that has that rear end damage because of that rear end damage. So it's either going to be you push them in the middle, or you really push them lightly on each of the ends.
Yeah, and I think, at least in Wesley's spot, I think I would probably push to the right. Reason being, you're going to get more air to your grill. The grill opening on these trucks on plate tracks is generally offset to the right, and I think that's still how it is. So you're going to get more air to your truck and cool it down a little bit more. It won't do much, but it'll keep you from blowing up more than likely, as long as you do it right.
Yeah, and another thing to mention is when you push to the left too, what you're doing is you're cutting, or you streamline on the left side while you have a lot of drag on the right hand side of the car, so it actually makes you push up higher into the track, which can get really dangerous doing that as well.
Up into the high line.
Yeah. You see the 4 and the 76 actually disconnect for a little bit. It's going to give Bradley Wilson and the 58, excuse me, a chance, and the 58's actually going to come down to the low side, be your leader here. Bradley Wilson with the momentum on the high side, though, he's going to catch right back up, and it looks like we'll be just about even going into turn 3.
And while we watch this battle, we're going to go to a bit of a crank it up session for a moment. We're going to just show you guys some raw action here from Talladega, and our mics will be silent. I'll turn the volume up now, and yeah, just enjoy the sights and sounds of this race. welcome back. Just needed a moment for us to kind of catch our breaths as we go into the last 30 laps of this race, 31 to go right now. And Jason Hughes still on point with Ronald Klein now right behind him, and Bradley Wilson trying to work that top side. Oh, they actually got really close right there as we're watching Wesley Hollins on board currently aboard the number 4 truck. And these guys are really getting close, really getting racy. And, you know, I thought maybe these guys were going to try and work with Bradley Wilson, considering they were talking about him being a good pusher, but right now that 005 is pushing him.
Yeah, they're kind of testing to see what that 51's got, if he's good taking a push or if he's good making the push. And we've already heard he's good making the push. Now it's good to see if he's good taking it.
And the 76 did mention earlier about wanting to work with the 58, so that's no surprise there that they're doing that.
And we got to think, too, he's probably raced around the 58 a lot more than he's raced around the 51, so he's probably got a lot more trust in the 58 than the 51.
Yeah, I would think.
This looks like the top line can't really get anything going out of the corner. They do get some momentum there. They do get a push. It just, every time they go into a corner, it just looks like they just lose it just a little bit.
And real quick, a bit of a tangent subject here. Benjamin Tebbins out in the chat asking how you can sponsor a driver. Pretty much just contact them or the team they race for. And, you know, I'm sure they're always willing to run a new sponsor on their hood. I know, you know, a lot of guys in the NMNTS Racing Series would definitely appreciate that. So, you know, if you were to message... If you can message us after this race, we'll hook you up with a few guys. We can give you some names of guys we know of. And, of course, really anyone in the iRacing community, I'm sure, would be more than willing to take a sponsorship. And as we continue to watch the battle up front, right now Jason Hughes still leading the way. He's got Ronald Klein on his bumper, and really just 2x2 for it looks like about the top 10. And then they kind of single file out for a little bit. Then there's kind of just stragglers behind them, but this has been a great race all night long. Want to once again thank John Hedrick and the Loose Lugnuts Racing Series. You can tell it's winter. You can tell I'm out of school because I'm not thinking. But I want to thank everyone from the Loose Lugnuts Racing Series for, you know, bringing us aboard for this race. Really do appreciate the opportunity. Just the same as last night with the iRacing Weekend Warriors. And caution out.
Yellow on him.
I'm not sure where that happened. Actually, looks like it's the number 7. So we'll see what happens here to the number 7. This is going to be Trevor Pratelli. We haven't really talked about him at all. This may be the first time we've had him up on camera, actually. But yeah, the number 7 ends up with something in the back. Oh! He and the 88, Roy Atchison, were working together, and he ends up trying to pull in behind Roy Atchison, ends up completely hooking him, and both of those trucks are killed.
Yeah, it looks like my replay's going to have a little bit of trouble. It looks like I just missed it.
Yeah, mine did as well.
Wow, I mean, that's a big wreck. Well, I shouldn't say big wreck, but a big hit. That was really a really hard hit for both of those guys. We saw... I think Roy Atchison went up and over. We'll watch this from the onboard of the 7 now. Yeah, he was just trying to get in behind Roy Atchison. And, yeah, you definitely see the 88 go up and over there. And he ends up landing back on his wheels, but I think both those guys may be killed. And we'll watch this one more time, this time from the chopper. So again, you'll see the 7 try and pull in behind the 88 of Roy Atchison, the 3rd here, and it just immediately goes sour. They didn't exactly clear each other, and just a big wreck back there. Atchison up on his driver's side door, actually, and then flips right back over onto his wheels. But that's a big wreck, guys.
Oh, we got to take your word for it. We ain't got a
just
replay on it.
Just not getting to see it in the stream here. Yeah, definitely big hit.
Yeah, I mean, there weren't many drivers involved, just those 2, but a couple of the really big hits for those guys. And I think they may be done for the night, but we now see pit stops getting going here further towards the front. We'll watch from the pit lane camera as these guys come in and make their pit stops. And again, just want to wish everyone a Merry Christmas. We've got the Christmas lights as a nice little addition above the top of the screen. Want to wish everyone a Merry Christmas, a Happy Hanukkah. Kwanzaa, I think, is another one that is celebrated this time of year. To be honest, I'm not fluent in holidays. I like holidays. Oh, actually, was that contact made out of the pits?
I don't believe
think
so. I
so.
think the 58 was still trying to get out, which the 51 was able to go right through him.
Yeah, I think iRacing might have saved those guys, but had iRacing not stepped in right there, that could have been catastrophic for those two. Basically, when you're in the pit lane, and for a certain amount of time exiting the pit lane as well, iRacing will make cars basically like ghosts, I guess is one way to describe it, to where cars can pass through each other so they don't wreck in the pit box. It's just a little thing, because this is a simulator. It doesn't have to be perfectly real. It's just one of those convenience things, and right there, I think Bradley Wilson and Jason Hughes are probably glad that happens.
Yeah, it essentially just turns the damage model off while you're on the pit lane, then gives you a little bit of time to get sorted out when you're coming off, like you said there.
Now, as soon as they get straight, though, that's when iRacing puts the damage model back on and can... That could, if they would have put it back on at that moment of time, it would have really hurt the both of them.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, that could have been catastrophic for those guys. To wreck coming out of the pits would have been a huge letdown for both of them. They've been up front pretty much all night long, and to come out now 1-2, and then if they had actually made contact there, that would have been catastrophic for both of those drivers. But currently we're going to take a look at the race summary. We're coming to about 25 laps to go, so about 75 laps in the books. We've had 31 lead changes, which is a nice change from some recent races we've had here on PSI TV. Not a whole lot of caution laps, though. Only 15, now 16 caution laps in the books over the course of 5 cautions. These guys have been running a lot of laps green. I think that makes about 60 laps of 75 run under green. So great racing here from the Loose Lugnuts racing field.
Really impressive when you can keep the caution laps pretty much under 30 at any point in time. Even if you are doing like a 40-lap race at Super Speedway, when you can keep those laps under 30, you've got a special group of guys there.
Yeah, definitely. That keeps it almost in line with what you'll see in the real life race. I think it's about the same way sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, when you put almost 30 trucks on a track like this, and there's no real consequences, you aren't having to pay for the equipment, and there's no points on the line, so everyone's just going as hard as they can. It's really something to only have 5 cautions for now. I think we'll have 18 laps in the books under yellow once these guys get restarted. So we're going to take a moment real quick to kind of just give ourselves another break before we get going back green. So I'm going to throw up a couple of commercials. We'll be right back.
On January 1st of this year, we made a major announcement when we added Porsche as our newest partner. The first car we added to the sim was the Porsche 911 GT3 Cup, and at the same time we announced that we would be adding several more Porsches in the future. For the next Porsche, we wanted something special, something unique, something that hasn't been seen in a racing sim before, and something definitively Porsche. Today, that Porsche is here. So here we are in northern New Hampshire where we found the perfect diesel Porsche. It's a model P133 and we're super excited to be able to scan it today. That should take us about 8 hours or so. After that, we'll do photo reference and sound recording. Then we're back to the office to build this sucker. When we're done with this project, we'll have the most authentic tractor ever built. Take that, farming simulator. It'll take some time and a lot of company resources. but we can definitely say this Porsche will be ready to launch sometime in the future.
And welcome back to the Talladega Super Speedway and tonight's Loose Lugnuts Racing League Christmas Special. Again, want to thank Over the Top Designs, RTK Motorsports, and obviously the league for making this a possibility here tonight.
Absolutely. Huge shout out to all those guys. Huge shout out to all you guys for taking the time out of your lives to watch us and have fun.
Yeah, definitely. This has been a great race so far. A lot of green flag racing, a lot of close green flag racing at that. There's always seemingly a battle up at the front in one of these races, and I think these guys are, unless there's a different fuel rule that I'm not aware of, these guys are perfectly good to go to the end, so even if we go green from here, don't have to worry about a pit stop.
Alrighty, so it's going to be nothing but hard racing now. They don't got to worry about strategy. They just got to put them trucks out in front.
And once we do go green, we're going to bring in a driver for an interview out of what we'd like to call the infield care center, pretty much. He was wrecked just a moment ago. It's going to be Roy Atchison the third. We'll get him in just a moment. But first up, we've got the restart. Bradley Wilson on point right now with Jason Hughes to his outside and Wesley Holland behind him. And they'll have to come through the long tri-oval here at Talladega Super Speedway. And, you know, at Daytona, the start-finish line is about right where they are now. And that's not the case here. You've got to go all the way down past the tri-oval to pit X pretty much. And we're now under green again. And this is where the start-finish line is right here. So it's a lot further than Daytona. Creates a lot of great finishes here at Talladega Super Speedway. But off and away, Bradley Wilson with the lead.
Looks like
big
yeah, huge checkup on the high side. Got about 5 truck length down on the bottom lead for the low line.
Yeah, it looks like Jason Hughes might have been in the wrong gear or missed a shift or something up there. Considering his truck didn't jerk back at all, I don't think he missed a shift. I think he might have been in the wrong gear still.
Yeah, you normally like to put around in third or fourth gear when you're just pacing around under the yellow, so sometimes you kind of forget to put it back down to second gear to get her going again.
And he just came over the race radio and apologized for it. He said it was all his fault.
Roy Atchison, this is Andrew Cardinale in the PSI TV booth. Good copy. Roy Atchison, if you're still at your mic, this is Andrew Cardinale in the PSI TV booth. Do you have a copy, bud? One more time, Roy Atchison the third. If you're still there, do you have a copy, bud? All right, it looks like he may have stepped away from his mic. Since he was unfortunately taken out of the event a little while ago. We'll put him back in the interview waiting booth. Hopefully we'll be able to catch up with him a little while later. But back up to the front, Wesley Holland. Yeah, Wesley Holland and Dustin Covington now are going to take over the front spots on the bottom and the top side. As Bradley Wilson going to get shuffled back. Now he's behind. I think that's the 76 on the bottom line as well as the 4. And they're really close. You can't push quite like that. Bradley Wilson was on the bumper of the 76. We've already talked about how dangerous it is to be on the back bumper, somebody who's pushing somebody else. And they almost had a wreck out of 4, and then another one in the tri-oval.
Here's a few guys we have not mentioned all night. Anthony Poston, the 18 of Jason Covington, and the 317 of Alan Matting, the 96 of Craig Covington, and the 10 of Bob Eltrick. They've put them trucks back right where they need to be, especially right here towards the end of the race.
And you know, Talladega and Daytona turn into a bit of a waiting game with a lot of drivers. Basically, they just buy their time, they wait until the end of the race to get back up there. And that's exactly what these guys are doing. You see guys like Jason Covington, Gary Whitmer, who's actually been in the front most of the race, Anthony Poston, like I said, Alan Matting, all these guys, Brian Bizzle, Brandon Dorsett, they're all getting back into this battle now, and pretty much for the first time all night, we haven't even had them on camera yet.
They're putting their names out there now. They're going to show what they're made of. If they can put themselves out there in the lead, then it was a strategy well done.
For sure, and you've still got the 4 of Wesley Holland and the 76 of Ronald Klein battling up at the front. The 4 has help from Bradley Wilson. The 76 has help from the 48 of Dustin Covington. These guys are battling very, very closely up at the front.
Oh, we have around 031, I believe.
That was the 031. That was, what's the name on that truck? That's going to be Anthony Poston. That's a big wreck out of turn 2, guys. Or turn 4, sorry. So to answer Tony Quadro's asking if we think there might have been one more big wreck in these guys, we just had it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we'll go back and get the replay on this wreck. And like he called out there, Brennan, this was on the 031, or at least him getting turned around. It looked like possibly with help from the 58 or the 18. We'll have to wait and see exactly what happens here. I'm not really sure. It happened so quickly, and I don't think we were even focused on him. But that Grinch truck, the 031, I believe is who gets turned first. Wait and see what happens. I think he might check up for the 48, and I'm not sure what happens. Yeah, the 58 just gets to his left rear, and that's just pushed on the left rear like I was talking about earlier. Ends up collecting a few more trucks, and that was a pretty big wreck right there. 031, I think, got the most of the damage. But there were more trucks involved, like the 18 and some others. I think the 10 might have gotten a piece of it. So we'll watch this one more time. And watch coming out of turn 4, these trucks just get close together. 58 hits the 031 on the left rear, gets them all spun around. And so the 10, Bob Eldred. The 9, Brandon Bizzle. I'd mentioned him just a few moments ago. He's going to end up getting collected. He had missed quite a few of these wrecks in that Elf number 9, and now he's in it. So on board here, aboard the number 9 of Brandon Bizzle, again in the Elf Chevrolet, he tries to go high and miss it, and then Bob Eldred gets turned around right in front of him, nowhere to go, and I think that's going to be his motor probably for the night. That couple of really hard hits in the back there. So to take a line out of Larry Mack's book, that changes everything, guys.
It really does. It puts people who are in the back even further up now. It puts people that have been racing up front at more of a chance to get passed by those people in the back. I mean, it really does change everything.
Yeah, Brennan, I mean, it really changes the whole dynamic of the rest of this race. Take out quite a few guys that were up there in the front really contending for the win, and you take them, put them in a wreck, and now they're in the back. Brennan, who do you think is going to get this? Aside from your pick, Bradley Wilson, do you think anyone can play spoiler?
Spoiler, I think we'll go with Wesley Holland on it. I know he's been up front all night, but like you said, he's recent champion in the league here. He's holding the pole at the moment. We've seen him a lot up front all night, so I think he's definitely got a chance if Bradley can't get away with it.
And sportsmanship right there. A bunch of class right there from Jason Hughes comes into the chat, apologizes to everyone that was involved, completely on his fault. So that's total class right there. Appreciate him coming into the chat and apologizing. And these guys are going to have about, I think, 16 laps to go when they get going again. Still quite a bit of racing left. 16 by 2.5 roughly, I think, is going to be 40-ish miles to go. Still quite a ways.
Sounds about right. I wasn't expecting to do math tonight, though.
And I think we can catch up with Roy Atchison now. Roy Atchison III, do you have a copy? Roy Atchison the third. This is Andrew Cardinal in the PSI TV booth. Do you have a copy?
Might have had to step away for a long breather.
Looks like he's still not back. He had messaged the page saying he was here. I think he's got his mic clicked to away right now, so if he can hear us, he might want to fix that, and we'll catch up with him as soon as we can. Pace light's still on, though, on the pace car, so we might try and catch up with another driver. It looks like, who do we got in fourth place? That's Dustin Covington. Dustin Covington, this is Andrew Cardinale in the PSI TV booth. Do you have a copy?
Yeah.
Well, Dustin, been watching you as one of the front runners all night, and looks like you're getting or at least you were getting a couple of your family members up there, the Covington clan. How's that truck feeling for you tonight?
I'd have felt a lot better if I wouldn't have tried to stick it 3 wide there early and cause a big wreck, but I made it back up front.
Well, we're only going to have about 16 laps to go, I think. Do you think you have a shot at getting this win?
I'm going to give it all it's got, and I'm racing a lap 95. They usually don't end under greens.
All right, well, sounds good. Is there anyone you want to shout out before we let you go for this restart?
I'd like to see all the Covington Motorsports get up front and battle it out for the win.
Sounds good. Well, best of luck to you through the rest of this race. We'll be watching for you and the rest of the Covingtons to get up there and mix it up.
10-4, appreciate it.
A man of few words, I like it. He's definitely focused. He's definitely focused on the race right now. The number 48, Dustin Covington. We've seen him out in the front quite a lot, Zach and Brennan. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see him walk away with this thing. If he makes the right kinds of moves, we could see him end up taking the win.
Well, yeah, absolutely. He fell to the back, like you said, making a 3-wide decision. He said he later regretted, but he's able to work his way back up here to the front. He almost put that 48 back up into the front before that last caution. So, yeah, he might play spoiler tonight.
And I think these guys are getting the 1 to green signal now, and we'll see them double up for the restart. And Roy Atchison, if you're out there still, we'll bring you up once we go green for a brief talk. But for now, we've got the restart on hand. It's going to be Wesley Holland with the front spot, with Bradley Wilson is outside. Ronald Klein in 3rd place with Dustin Covington, who we just talked to in the 4th spot. Jason Hughes in 5th. Looks like the 005, I think that's Gary Whitmer in 6th. That is Gary Whitmer in 6th. Craig Covington in 7th spot. Looks like Alan Madding in 8th. David Johnson in 9th. And Jason Covington in 10th.
The Covington clan up here.
And we're going to be watching from, I think, Jason Covington's onboard here on this restart. Give you guys kind of an idea of how these restarts are really going to be picking up. We talked about them 60 laps ago being exciting on lap 20, and now under 20 to go, it's only going to be even more so.
Yeah, you're not wrong. No, but like I was saying earlier, this is one of the most stressful times for any driver at all. And especially with under 20 to go, this is when it becomes almost unbearable for any driver.
Yeah, it's really tough to, just calm yourself down enough to really focus on what's going on. Dustin Covington obviously doing a great job. Man, a very few words there in the interview, but just so many things can come into play that it's tough to just keep focused and make every move as it needs to be made. It's easy to really screw up and suddenly kill your chances of a win.
You got to just keep straight. You got to keep your mental game on. Hope and pray no one in front of you messes up.
And as we come to the green flag, like I mentioned, we'll go on board with that number 18 starting in the 10th spot. So we'll see all kinds of action unfold around him right here, because he's, fifth car in line on the top side, and he's still got quite a few trucks behind him. As we wait for the green flag, Wesley Holland coming down to the green flag, possibly the last one of the night with 15 laps to go as we take the green flag. Wesley Holland off and away, and looks like Jason Covington, going to pick up the throttle and try and get going, try and get up to that 3:17 of Alan Madden.
We look back up here to the front. The 51 got a good restart with the 4. Just that high side cannot carry the momentum, any momentum at all going through the corner. Yeah,
We lost the 76 there for a second.
So we lost Ronald?
Yeah. Porker's actually falling way back, so I don't think there's
Ronald Klein.
there.
Something's up with Ronald Klein. We don't have him in the field right now. We'll go back up to the 4 then. Wesley Holland currently leading the way on the bottom side. Bradley Wilson on his outside. We're going to bring in Roy Atchison the 3rd.
Third time's the charm.
Roy Atchison, do you have a copy?
Yes, I do.
All right, we finally got you dialed up. So we saw you get caught up in a wreck not too long ago. We saw you get caught up in quite a bit of things that weren't your fault. First, you got turned around to the pit. What was that all about?
I think I was going in and he was just going in at the same time and got turned around. So did my best to get back to the on track, and you know how it all ended.
Now, do you think you had a chance to steal this thing in your number 88? You weren't really in the front a whole lot tonight, maybe trying to play a strategy. Do you think you could have got it done?
I think if I got it on a good enough push, I think I could have got around up to at least
We have the 4 around actually up front. Sorry to cut you off there.
No caution's going to come out just yet. Real quick, we are going to move you back down, Roy. Thanks for your time. Hopefully we get to see you in more races in the future.
All right, thank you, sir.
And again, as Brendan said right there, the number 4, we're actually on him right there. Wesley Holland gets turned around. We'll get a quick replay on that because, you know, he was leading the way and suddenly he's turned around out of turn 4. I think that was off of Jason Hughes once again. It was. Got on the left rear of the truck, sent him around. No caution comes out. That's going to be a huge, terrible break for the number 4 of Wesley Holland.
The only thing he's wishing for now is a caution before lap 95. That's pretty much what he's wishing right now.
And even if one comes out or after lap 95, as long as it's big enough, he can still possibly get a pretty good finish, but he definitely needs one before 95 if he wants to get back up there. We talk about it all the time in these streams, and, you know, just iRacing hasn't been able to give us green-white checkers yet. Don't really know why. Don't really know what the limiting factor there is for iRacing, but currently on iRacing, we don't have green-white checkers built into the simulator, so if there's a caution with 5 to go or less, it ends the race, basically. Just like old NASCAR rules, you can have races that end under yellow, so these guys have to be careful in those last 5 laps.
Double on the 48 making some contact, running a 3 wide here going into turn 3. The big push for the 00 and the 38. They're going to clear the 48. Not quite going to get the 51, but they're going to have the momentum coming off the corner here.
Yeah, these guys are really picking up pace here, really driving even more aggressive than they already were. I didn't think it was possible. They're definitely doing it right now.
Yeah, the 00 and the 38 saw the hole right there, had huge momentum, could not slow up for the 48, so they decided to make their own hole. Almost actually did get in contact with the 48, so that was a good move. I'll give him that.
And 3 wide further back, the 48, Dustin Covington is still trapped on the top side, but Jason Hughes trying to get back up to him. He's on that top side, making it 3 wide as well. It looks like Jason Covington going to go up there as well, try and help out, I believe, his brother of Dustin.
51 on the 005 there, big old push. They cut the air off in the back end there. Moving around like that, and they just sweep right past him.
Looks like the extreme high line, the 48 and the 58 get a huge run coming out of that corner. They're going to stick with the 00 and the 38.
Yeah, Bradley Wilson doing a great job of leading this bottom line and really just trying to get himself a win. I mean, he's doing a great job so far. We saw him be a great pusher earlier on in the race, and now he's doing just as good at leading this 3 wide pack. They're 3 wide all the way through. I mean, this is exciting stuff here.
In the middle of the high line, start to pull away here to see if anybody's going to try and dive down on the inside.
I mean, this really is. Oh, they're wrecking. That's a caution. Bradley's in it.
No,
they're all in it.
Everyone is in it.
I don't know if anyone got through that one.
I don't think anyone really did, to be honest with you.
The 89 did get through the 96 as well. I mean, it's going to be easier to count the cars involved, or not involved, than the cars involved. That really changes everything. I mean,
Yeah.
wow. So I think that started out with the 58 possibly. We'll take a look back at that. I think
It looks like the 38 of
yeah.
the 38 of Bob Wells comes up just a little bit while the 58 was coming down. They just get in contact, and that hooked the 48, and that just caused a huge wreck.
And this is really going to decimate this field. I think most of these guys will probably use their last fast repair. I know Bradley Wilson doesn't have one. Actually, no, he did have one in the bank.
Yeah, he mentioned
He
that.
did have one. Yeah. Bob Wells just comes up the track a little bit, ends up really just, that's just a huge wreck. Huge hits all the way around.
Yeah,
Chat here
Bradley
looks
Wilson uses it.
Chat here looks like Trevor Pertelli saying that the 4 may have made it through. Would have been a great break for him there.
Well, yeah, the 4 was way back, so he's definitely going to still be out there because he had gotten turned around a little while ago. So he'll definitely be in the running still. Watch from the onboard this time of the 317 as everything just unfolds ahead of him. He ends up getting in it into a couple of guys. It looks like maybe the 005 and the 18, and just absolute carnage back there. Absolute carnage. We'll even turn on the slow-mo for this one. Hopefully it works out right this time. You'll see the 38, I believe, start to wash up. Yep, there he goes. Start to wash up the track, and that's what's going to kick this all off. Fortunately, it's being a bit picky, but you'll see this 38 come back down. I'm sorry for the shaking on the screen, but I want to show you this in slow motion. Yeah, it's being very picky, so we'll stop the shaking, because that's probably annoying to deal with, but yeah, I mean, that's a huge wreck.
And it pretty much blocked off every lane, too. And the 58 got into the wall. That took away the high lane. The 38 spun back down in the middle to the bottom of the track. It pretty much took away every lane. And then going into the corner, it probably slid the trucks back up the track, which continued to take away lanes. So, I mean, whoever got through it, these guys are pretty much taking a sigh of relief. The 89, the 005, and the 96, I believe, are the ones who got through it.
And the 4 will be there as well as a few of the other guys in the back. I think the 13 was far enough back to make it through that. A lot of guys in the back, obviously, you know, whether they wanted to be there or not, will, you know, still have a chance at this. And let's see, I think we're going to have Tim Campbell as your leader now. And Ronald Klein out in the chat saying he can't believe he lost internet. So that's what happened to him. He just completely lost internet. It sucks to have to see him drop out of the running. He was doing very good, but at least now he can watch the rest of this race here. And it should be a thriller for these next. I believe we're going to have about 5 laps to go at the end.
Yeah.
Is it going to be how the Grinch stole Christmas? Or stole this race?
How the Grinch stole the Christmas special, possibly. I mean, the Grinch truck out front, the number 89, Tim Campbell, we haven't really talked about him at all. He's been brought up a couple of times, but mostly just by the 89. I don't think we've said Tim Campbell all night long, but he's finally up there, and he's showing that he has a pretty good shot at this win.
He can keep that truck out there, and another wreck happens. This race is over, and he pretty much stole this race. Like you're saying, we've talked about him as the number. We haven't really said his name, but here he is in a prime position to take the win.
We also have a few other guys, the 005. He's been up front most of the night, and he actually has a shot at this as well, provided his car isn't too damaged. Craig Covington up there as well. And let's see who else. We got Alan Madding, Dustin Lee finally getting back into the running, Ralph Wheeler, Brian Tribble, Wesley Holland, Jason Hughes, Bradley Wilson, David Johnson, Dustin Covington, Bob Wells. I think that's actually where they start to drop off. But we've still got about 11 trucks out here with a great chance to win.
Yeah. I mean, it is a super speedway. Pretty much everyone first through whoever's still out there on the track and not a lap down has a fantastic chance to win. Every single person does. So we're just going to have to see how this plays out.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to say who can win this because, I mean, Bradley Wilson restarting in 10th, he has a great shot, just like the leader. I mean, if anything, I think I'd want to be further back than in the lead because then you can work with the draft and get up into the front as long as you work it right. I think if you're in the front, if you're on the front row at all, you're probably just going to be a sitting duck.
I agree with you. I agree with you.
Yeah, or there's a possibility that should we see green flag these last 5 laps that you'll just get dropped off the last lap or two and drop like a rock. Unfortunately, that's how it goes for the people in the lead when you the finishes like this. Is everybody starts to break out of the lines and whoever's up front usually just falls off.
Yeah. So remember how I was preaching to you that their restarts are the most stressful time? This is by far the worst time to restart in a super speedway race, by far.
Yeah, I wish we had heart rate monitors and all these guys, because I tell you what, they've got to be through the roof. Even as a non-points race, something that, you know, in a lot of truck leagues, this race ends up being a cut race in their playoff format. But this one has no bearing, but I guarantee you the heart rate is still there through the roof. These guys are going to be wanting to get this win for bragging rights just as much as anything else. So it's hard to keep focused, but whoever does, I think, will come out on top.
Yeah. Yeah, and like you were saying, it's really hard to keep focused, especially with there's a piece of real estate that you want and other drivers are going to want. They're going to start going there. You still got to make really logical and straight-headed moves in order to get yourself up to the front. If you start making really dumb decisions in order to get yourself up there, you're probably going to get yourself wrecked. So you've really got to keep your head level at most at this point in the race.
Yeah, now more than ever, you can't lose focus. You can't lose sight of what's really the big picture here. You can still win the race even if you're, 10th place, 1 lap to go. You just got to play it right and got to hope for the right thing to happen. But you gotta keep in it. You can't give up in these last few laps. You got to just stay wide open.
Agree with you. Well, we're getting ready to go double file. Getting ready to get on the backstretch here. We're gonna have about 4 to go, 3 to go.
Gonna have 5 to go when these guys go green.
5 to go.
Brennan, pick a truck and we'll go on board with them.
To watch this, I'd say let's watch from the poor Wesley Holland. He's got a pretty good spot. Green time tonight. He caught back up.
Wesley Holland it is. We saw him go around just a little while ago off the front end of Jason Hughes. Nothing intentional. Just a bit of awkward pushing. These guys are all just going for the win now, and so that kind of thing will happen. But Wesley Holland back in the battle by virtue of that last caution, and he'll be restarting in the 8th spot, 4th truck in line on the top side. So he's got a pretty good shot at this. I think he's got Bradley right behind him. Bradley Wilson, yeah, one of the best pushers out here all night. Yeah, you heard Ronald Klein say it. I think Bradley Wilson may be the key to winning this race if you're Wesley Holland.
Yeah, definitely. Let's see if they'll be able to hook up with each other and make something work.
They're able to stay connected, then I agree with you.
A couple of guys saying the 14 may have some damage. If so, I mean, that's only going to present the opportunity to Wesley Holland to go high and try and make something happen 3 wide. These guys are going to have 5 laps to go. They got to time it right. You can't go too early and you can't go too late. You got to time it just right to make it work. So as we come to the restart here, Brennan, it's your call.
Alrighty, we had the pace car dive in, like you said. We're working our way through the tri-oval. Everybody, hearts are racing right now, I'm sure. At 5 laps to go. Green's out. And we're underway. Clean start, looks like the inside lineup. We have contact there.
They're going to wreck. That's going to be the race. That's going to be the race. Bradley Wilson in it.
They've got involved.
Wesley Holland in it. We see the 13, Brian Tribble, Ralph Wheeler, and I think Tim Campbell's going to walk away with this win.
The Grinch who stole the Christmas special.
Wow. Wow.
Didn't even get a chance to really.
Really?
We'll watch this here. Something happens with the 005 and. Or no, the 317 just has a bunch of damage, isn't able to get going anywhere. The 14 hits him, gets squirrely, and then you know, the 13 gets involved, gets hooked, and it's just on from there.
Wow.
That's a big wreck.
Especially on a restart.
Yeah, restart with only 11 cars, and I think 6 of them just got taken out. So we'll see here again, the 317, Alan Madden can't go anywhere. He has damage. The 14 just gets put in a bad spot, the 13 as well, and they just all stack up and end up wrecking. I mean, there's nowhere to go when a truck gets backed up like that because they have that kind of damage. There's literally just nowhere for them to go.
Tangent here, looks like we have some instructions in the chat to bring Ronald Klein up into the booth post-race.
Yeah, he's got a surprise for these guys. So we're going to watch the onboard here from the 14, I think. No, from the 00. We'll go on the 00. We haven't talked about him pretty much all night, but he's actually going to, I think, finish this race in 6th. But we'll watch the onboard here as he's coming to the restart in the Frosty the Snowman machine. And again, just watch the stack up on the top lane. I really think there was just too much damage on that 317 for him to get going, and they end up just stacking up. I think the 14 was offset to try and watch the restart, and unfortunately he ends up turning the 317 because of that. I think if they'd been squared up, nothing would have happened, but geez, that's just a big wreck. There's nowhere to go.
Especially on a restart, you still haven't gotten up to speed. Oh man, that's crazy.
Yeah, and Terry out there saying in the chat, really unfortunately we didn't get to watch a shootout, but it's still a great race overall. Just unfortunately, like Terry said, not able to watch these guys battle it out, but still a great race, and the winner is still well deserving. Just to outlast this thing and put yourself in a position to win this thing, Tim Campbell, you really deserve this one if it ends up being your race. I think it will be his race. We may have one to go. I'm not sure. We'll have to see what happens here. A lot of guys smoking from all the damage. Tim Campbell is still your leader. 3 to go. We'll just have to watch the pace car lights. It's rather possible to get the pace car lights to turn off this next time around, and it's really going to be interesting to watch and see what happens, because they won't throw the yellow flag again, I don't think, once you take that white flag. So this may not be over just yet. It depends on what happens when these guys come back around, though, Brennan.
Yeah, another thing to look out for too is all these people with the motors that are smoking and a lot of damage. They've been given you have too much damage to competing, so they want you to go down to the pits. So eventually that will black flag you. So we'll see if anybody gets that enforced on them. Eventually it'll actually take you off the track. A couple spots to make up possibly for some guys here.
Yeah, eventually it will disqualify if you stay out too long. The admins may clear that, I'm not sure, and it really depends on if we get the green flag here in a couple of laps. If we get the 1 to go signal this time by, if the pace car lights turn off out of turn 4, or not turn 4, but coming across the line, sorry, we still have a 1-lap shootout at that point. And there's a lot of guys in the chat saying this race is over. Thanks for the broadcast. It was a lot of fun. Hang on. I mean, we have to wait and see what happens this time coming to the start-finish line, because they may still have one more lap of green flag racing. We saw quite a few cautions not go the full length of 5 laps. I mean, if you look at the race summary, it doesn't quite add up. Normally you might have a 5-lap caution. Well, we've only had, on average, I think, about 4 laps of caution. Or 3.5, something like that. We've had 8 cautions for 26 laps now. We could still have a 1 to go shootout. We'll have to wait and see what happens. They're coming to the line this time, so, I mean, personally, I've got my fingers crossed.
Yeah, so do I. It'd be about a 4-truck break if this does go green.
We may be seeing some motors give out in the back, and I think that's why some of those guys have stopped smoking and are slowing down, possibly coming into the pits. They may also just have them shut off. I think one is coming into the pits, possibly done for the night. Tim Campbell may or may not have the win handed to him right here. Watch the pace car lights as he crosses the start-finish line.
Yep, that's that.
That will be the race. Pace car lights still on, and we will not get going green tonight once more, unfortunately, but One heck of a race. Everyone out here, would have deserved the win. I think everyone drove a great race. A lot of green flag racing, and for Tim Campbell to pretty much just be a sleeper all night long, he was up in the battle most of the night, but he wasn't really making any headlines, if you will, throughout the race. Was sitting back, waiting for the perfect chance, and what do you know, it's going to work out.
Yeah, I mean what can you say about it? The strategy that he pulled was the winning strat.
Yeah, and again, unfortunately, we won't be able to see these guys go back green. I don't know if anyone actually picked Campbell to win the race, but we'll check that real quick. We have to go way back through the chat. We'll see if we can't find out if he was picked by anyone to win. I know at this point the top 3 is definitely out of the running, but we'll see if anyone picked the 89. So overall, guys, what do you think of this one?
It's been an exciting race. We saw it even in practice that them pretty much driving 2 laps 4 wide. We knew this was going to be exciting. And pretty much from the get-go, these guys did not let up. And it was surely exciting.
Yeah, again, I can't thank these guys enough for having us up here. It's been a lot of fun. And we'll be going into talks very soon with quite a few different groups about 2018 broadcasts. So we'll see what happens. Don't want to, say anything will or will not happen in 2018 because there's still a lot of time, and I got to see exactly what shapes up for us. But this is certainly on the table, and I would definitely be down to come back and do some more races with these guys.
Oh, absolutely. Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, great group of guys for sure. They put on quite a show for you guys tonight.
And I'm not seeing anyone with the 89 even in their list. Unfortunately, that means no one's going to get anything from RTK, but it sounds like there may be something in store for the top 3. We'll bring Ronald Klein up into the booth in just a moment once these guys take the checkered flag in about 2 minutes, I want to say, less than, and he will give us all the details there. And everyone out there watching, if you haven't clicked away just yet, make sure you give this race a thumbs up or, a heart if you really liked it that much. Obviously, give the page a like if you haven't already, or at least a follow. It really helps every single one we get. We actually just got to 1,000, and so we'll be doing a giveaway on the page very, very soon. Keep an eye out for that. And if you haven't yet, give us a rating, even if it's a 1-star rating. Any feedback helps. We want to know what you guys think of these broadcasts so we can make them the best they can be. And as these guys pace around, we're going to go through some of the results here a little bit early so we can get this on the road. Tim Campbell going to take home the win tonight with Gary Whitmer in the 005 in second spot. Craig Covington in third. Those will be your top 3, and I think there may be something in store for those guys here very, very soon. And yeah, like Ronald Klein said in the chat, stay tuned for the interviews and something big coming from RTK Motorsports, I believe, in just a moment. Dustin Lee is going to take home 4th place with Justin Hughes in 5th. Bradley Wilson coming home in 6th. Brian Tribble in 7th. Ralph Wheeler in 8th. Alan Madding in 9th. And David Johnson in 10th.
Picking up from 10th, it's going to be the Ford truck of Wesley Holland in 11th. Anthony Poston in 12th, Brian Bizzle in 13th, David Covington 14th, Bob Wells 15th, Jason Covington in 16th, Ronald Klein 17th, Bob Eldred 18th, Brandon Dorsett 19th, and running out our top 20 would be William Wise.
21st, he's going to finish the race 26 laps down, I believe. Is going to be Roy Atchison, the third, followed by Trevor Bercelli at 26 laps down, I believe. 23rd going to Travis Zudema, 28 laps down. 24th to Rodney Morris at 45 laps down. 46 now as we crossed, excuse me. 25th going to Trent Drum, 49 laps down. 26th goes to John Hendrick, 78 laps down. And 27th Rounding out the field goes to Matthew Lizwinski, 79 laps down.
So once more, congratulations to Tim Campbell on taking home the win, Gary Whitmer for taking home second, and Craig Covington for coming home in the third spot. We're going to bring in Ronald Klein now. Ronald Klein, this is Andy Cardinelli in the booth. Do you have a copy? Ronald Klein, one more time. This is Andy Cardinelli in the booth. Do you have a copy?
Sorry about that. I accidentally muted my mic. Yeah, I got you.
All right. Well, it sounds like you may have something in store for this top three. What's up?
We're doing a little secret Santa nobody knew about, and I'd like to kind of be a surprise for them. So as you pull them up, I'll tell them what they're receiving.
All right. We'll keep you in the booth while we do these interviews then. First up is going to be Craig Covington. We'll try and get him up in here. Craig Covington, this is Andrew Cardinelli in the PSI TV booth. Do you have a copy?
Yeah, man. Got a copy.
Well, Craig, great job bringing it home in third place. You were kind of one of the sleepers out there tonight and ultimately did a great job bringing it home in third place. How did you do it?
Well, I just sat back and rode the first 75% of the race and then just run the last 25% hard.
Well,
And did a little bit of fuel strategy, you know.
Yeah, he certainly did a great job of that number 96 Speedco Chevrolet coming home in the third spot. Did you think you had maybe a chance to win that race had we gotten back green?
Well, he's going to try. I always think we got a chance of winning, and we're going to try it.
All right, well, real quick, before we hand you over to Ronald Klein, is there anyone you want to thank for your performance tonight?
I'd like to thank Loose Lugnuts for putting this on, Ronald Klein for helping, and Over the Top Paints and Covington Motorsports.
All right, well, Ronald Klein, I'll let you take it from here.
Alrighty, Craig. Since it's the Christmas race, and then to my knowledge, this is the first time that Loose Lugnuts has done it. Decided, talked with John, I'm going to do a little secret Santa thing this year. And for you coming in third place, I'm going to give you $10 in iRacing credits.
Well, I sure appreciate that. I can use it.
Copy that, sir. Congratulations on a third place finish.
Okay, thank you.
Great deal. That's awesome that you're doing that, Ron. Well, you have a Merry Christmas, Craig. Great job on third place. Hopefully we see you in the future.
Okay, buddy. Merry Christmas.
And next up, we're going to be bringing up second place finisher. That's going to be the 05 Gary Whitmer. Zach, I'll let you take this one away.
Alrighty. Gary Whitmer, this is Zach in the PSI TV booth. You got a copy, bud?
I got you.
Alright, well, you ran pretty much the whole race out in front. I believe you were involved in one wreck, if I'm not mistaken, if not any. How are you able to keep that truck up front? There's a lot of cautions going on out there, a lot of beating and banging. How are you able to keep that truck up there?
A lot of patience. I started up front and then slipped back and ran the back for a little bit, and I worked my way back up front.
Yeah, it sounds like a lot of people were doing that, and you were one proof that it was able to get done. Congrats on the second place finish. You were saying we mentioned you up there. We saw you up there. You're mixing it up with those guys up there. Anybody you want to thank before we hand you over to Ronald here?
Yeah, I want to thank John Hendrick and Over the Top Paints and Designs for this truck scheme, Pad and Loose Lugnuts for letting me join in with them tonight.
Awesome, man. Awesome. Well, Ronald, he's all yours.
All right, Gary. Nobody knew about this. I think some of the people in the broadcast know now what's coming, but we're doing a Secret Santa thing this year, kind of a special event with Loose Lugnuts doing this the first time. We're going to give you $15 in iRacing credits.
Wow.
For your second place finish. So I wanted to congratulate you on second place finish and send it on to you.
All right, man. Thanks, guys.
Great job one more time, Gary. Merry Christmas to you. Hopefully we see more of you in the future.
Yep. Merry Christmas, guys. Happy New Year.
Again, that was Gary Whitmer in the 005 who finished second place tonight. Next up, we're going to bring up Tim Campbell in the number 89, your winner. Tim Campbell, this is Xander Cardinale in the PSI TV booth. Do you have a copy?
Yep, I got you.
Well, Tim, you did a great job of kind of playing sleeper, and you ended up taking this one home. How did you do it in that number 89? How the Grinch Stole Christmas machine?
I'll tell you, I was playing catch up the whole time. I got in that first caution there, had a tow, got 2 laps down, and it was just catch up the rest of the night. Then 10 to go there, I finally got back on that lead lap, and then I just tried to push my way up there.
Huh.
Well, you certainly did a great job, and I dare say it was more so how the Grinch Stole the Christmas special here at Loose Lugnuts Racing League. Great job. Is there anyone you want to thank for your run tonight?
Oh, yeah, definitely John Hedrick for putting on this thing, and Overtop Paints and Designs has done some great paint jobs. And for Loose Lugnuts, great league to race in, and I appreciate everything they do.
All right, well, Tim, once more, congratulations on that one. You did a great job of just coming out of nowhere, suddenly making it through those ranks, and I believe Ronald Klein has a bit of a surprise for you.
All right, well.
I'm hoping you haven't seen anything from the broadcast yet, Tim.
Nope, haven't seen that broadcast at all yet.
Okay, great. So since this is our first year doing this and it's Christmas, I talked to John. He said he was okay with it. We're doing a little secret Santa thing this year. Third place walked away with $10 in iRacing credits. Second place walked away with $15 in iRacing credits, and you are going to walk away with $25 in iRacing credits, sir.
Oh, wow. Fantastic. I appreciate that, guys. I didn't even see that coming.
Well, we intentionally try to make it that way because sometimes when people race for money, things get a little crazy. But you did a great job. Way to keep the truck together and bring home the win. Congratulations, and I'll get with you after the race. Thanks, guys.
All right, sure appreciate you guys. Thanks everything for the broadcast. I hope everybody enjoyed it.
Yeah, great job on the win one more time, Tim. Merry Christmas to you and everyone watching, especially you, Ronald. That's really cool that you guys are doing that. So we'll move you guys back down and we'll wrap it up for tonight. Again, want to thank Ronald Klein, John Hedrick, and everyone from the Loose Lugnuts Racing League for what they did here tonight. That was actually a really cool deal with the Secret Santa prizes to the winners. We had no clue. Straight up, I had no clue that was going on. Zach, Brennan, they had no clue. So very cool for those guys to do that and ultimately give away $50 total to the top 3. That's a really cool deal. One more time, we're going to go through the results. And Brennan, I'll let you take the top 10.
Alrighty, obviously your race winner is going to be Trevor Campbell. Second place, we talked with him, Gary Whitmer Jr. Well, with third place going to Craig Covington. Fourth place going to go to Dustin Lee, followed by fifth with Jason Hughes. Sixth going to Bradley Wilson. Seventh to Brian Tribble. Eighth to Ralph Wheeler. Ninth to Alan Madding. And rounding out 10th place, David Johnson.
In the 11th spot will be Wesley Holland in the number 4. Anthony Poston will come home 12th place. Brian Bizzle will take home 13th with Dustin Covington 10 laps down in the 14th spot. Bob Wells in the 38 comes home 15th with Jason Covington in 16th. Ronald Klein ends up getting disconnected while running up front and will finish 17th spot with William Wise in 18th, Bob Eldred in 19th, and Brendan Dorsett rounding out your top 20.
We continue through the field. It'd be Roy Atkinson in 21st, Trevor Portelli 22nd, Travis Zudema in 23rd, Rodney Morris 24th, Trent Drum 25th, John Hedrick 26th, and rounding out the rest of our field would be Matthew Lesniewski, I believe, in 27th. I'm sorry if I butchered that name.
And once more, Merry Christmas, everyone watching. We did go through, or at least I went through all of the picks, and unfortunately nobody's going to take home the prizes from RTK Motorsports, but hopefully we get to do more of that kind of thing in the future. That was actually really fun, keeping up with the first half of the race. But yeah, unfortunately no one's going to take that home, but watch out on the PSI TV Facebook page. We'll be giving some stuff away very soon, to kind of commemorate us getting to 100 or 1,000 likes on Facebook. And we're almost to 500 subscribers on YouTube, so if you haven't subscribed to us on YouTube, go ahead and do so. Of course, like our page if you haven't already, give it a rating. Any feedback is welcome. And if you're looking to book with us in the future, you can message us and we will get with you. Even if we don't, get something worked out, hopefully it at least helps you figure out exactly what you're looking for. So, once more, thanks everyone for watching. Thanks, Loose Lugnuts, for having us here. Any closing thoughts, Brendan?
I just gotta say, wow, what a great race it turned out being. Obviously, 100 laps at Talladega can be quite demanding for the drivers. So glad to see we kept it fairly well caution-free. I think we kept it under the magic 30 number for Zach there. Yeah, definitely, it was a fun one and a surprise winner. Would not have picked that person myself, honestly, with you.
And real
Good
quick,
for him,
Zach,
though.
before you give your thoughts, let's see, Kevin Brownell out in the chat asking about if this is an Xbox game or something. This is iRacing.com. It's a motorsport simulator, one of the top of the line motorsport simulators out there. I really think it's the best out there, at least publicly available. And you can get it on the PC by going to the website, checking all that. You can get the download, sign up, all that stuff at iRacing.com. And Zach, I'll let you go ahead.
Like you were saying, it's been a great race. It was physically and probably mentally demanding for these guys. Like Brendan said, I would not have picked him, especially with 10 to go. I would not have picked him, and he pulled the rug out from every single person in this field, or every single person up here and that was watching. And I got to give credit to Tim Campbell. He drove the wheels off of it after coming back from 2 laps down, finally getting it back with 10 to go, and ended up taking the W.
And if I had any closing thoughts for tonight, I guess it would just be that, these guys are some really good drivers. To only run about a quarter of the race, for a plate race like this, to only run a quarter of the race under caution is pretty darn good. These guys did a great job of, holding it together, and ultimately, we would have only had 8 cautions had it not been for, a truck trying to get up to speed, just couldn't because of a previous wreck. And, it wasn't really the fault of anyone in that wreck, but just, circumstances came down to it. So, great run out there tonight from everyone. Hopefully we have more of these races in the future. And I want to wish everyone a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. And yeah, I think that'll be it for PSI TV. This has been Andrew Cardinale in the booth with Brennan Elshoff and Zach Lindgren. And this race has been the Christmas special from the Loose Lugnuts Racing Series. Thanks everyone for tuning in. You can catch this on YouTube, uploaded, I believe it'll be Wednesday, December 27th. Just again, I want to thank everyone for watching and supporting PSI TV. Groups like Loose Lugnuts, the iRacing Weekend Warriors, NMNTS Racing Series, All-Star Sim Racing, Dirt Racing Challenge Series, Pit Stop Insider, TN Designs, Over the Top, Paints and Graphics, iRacing World, Facebook group. There's just so many. BA Graphics. There's just so many. Monkey Motorsports. The list goes on and on. Race Agent. So many out there. Thanks to everyone for your outpour of support recently. CineSpec PC Tower, Scott Brothers and Images, Oliver Mobile Fleet Repair. Just everyone for pouring your support into PSI TV. Hopefully great things are on the horizon for 2018. We'll have some announcements coming up and some great races. Thanks to you, Brennan, and you, Zach, for the help in the booth. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, thank you for having us up here. Like you said, it was a blast, and I enjoyed it. Thank you.
And that'll conclude our coverage. Thanks, everyone, for tuning in. And I don't know when our next broadcast will be, but enjoy the next couple of days broadcast free here on the page, celebrating Christmas.